So now it is March the 3rd, and we're on to another installment of this podcast. Hey everybody, how's it going? How's you doing? Did you have a good month? Did you do okay? I hope you did, because I don't know how this month's gonna go quite yet. I'm barely into it, but I know how this last week has went. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, because a few eventful things have already happened this week, despite me not releasing a video. This is probably going to be, unless I really just bust ass Saturday night and stay up late, this is probably going to be the first week of the year where I don't release a video, because I started working on this week's video, or what was supposed to be this week's video, and I got a rough cut of it together without any images or titling or anything like that. I tend to do 2 passes on my videos. I forget if I've said this before or not, but I tend to do 2 passes on my videos. One where I'm just getting the raw footage chopped down to what I actually want to be in the video in order, and then I do a second pass where I make sure all the cuts are as tight as they need to be and they're zoomed in and positioned properly, and I insert the images and the titling and all that. So I was working on the first pass of this video about all of the Gokaidras' appearances after their series, and I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened. I'll explain in a second, but I thought this video came out really well shooting it. This was one of the videos that I had shot in this batch that I thought was gonna come off really well and go over really well. Excuse me, it's late. But I thought it was going to be a pretty solid release. I thought it was on par with the World's Finest video. But then I went and put together this rough cut, and there was just all kinds of wind noise all up in there because the way I was shooting it, and this is how I didn't realize it, because I just straight up didn't realize at the time that it was that windy. There's this area on the campus where I wanted to film that's like a pathway with a brick wall next to it, but it's kind of open on the other side. And I had filmed it, and it turns, and there's this cool piece of signage that I wanted to get in the shot, and I had filmed it with the camera a little bit back and more exposed than I was, and I was kind of standing just before the turn, so the brick wall was covering me, and there ended up being a ton of wind that I never noticed coming in on the side where the brick wall is, and that completely screwed up my audio. There's all this wind noise that just drowns me out in a lot of the video, and I tried cleaning it up. I tried boosting the volume in the edit, and you just cannot make me out that well in most of this video unless you're really straining your ears. And I've had maybe 1 or 2 videos that have had that issue before, but never as bad as this one. This was straight up unwatchable in my opinion, and I didn't even really realize that until I went to do the second pass. The whole first pass I was going, this bit's kind of bad, but I think the rest of it will probably make up for it. I was just thinking that way with everything, and then when I went back and I rewatched it to start working on the second pass, I was like, oh, this is unreleasable, and there's nothing I can do. That sucks, because that's the only other video I have left to put out this month, so it's not like I could make something else, edit something else real quick, and then go and reshoot this for next week. Nope, I just gotta say, there might not be a video this week. So I made a whole text post about that, and then I did a little update ski on the Patreon, saying that it was now going to be on the subscription model, which it is, and I thought my Patreon was on something like that for a very long time anyway, but apparently it didn't work the way I thought it was, and Patreon just now made it a thing that you could do that, which is kind of silly, having somebody fucking pay on the same day of the month that they patroned originally every time. That seems like the thing you would want them to do, and then the Patreon page owner can just pick it up at the end of the month. That's what I think seems like the good thing to do. But what do I know? I'm not a website man. I'm a YouTube man. Know what I mean? But yeah, the video just didn't look good, and I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna make it. It'll probably be out by the time you're listening to this. In fact, I'm gonna reshoot it with the new audio recorder because it'll probably come out way better. So we're gonna give that a shot, and I'm actually gonna be shooting a bunch of videos tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna shoot every video for this month, but I'm gonna shoot at least 3, because I'm going to shoot the first 2 videos that were planned for the month, and I'm also going to shoot the new version of Gokaiger After Gokaiger, and we're going to see about releasing after that. I might also shoot the rest of the month if I'm still feeling it, but usually after the first 3 videos is where I start to like lose energy and not come out as well, in my opinion. And so that's why I try to prioritize the ones I care about the most first instead of shooting them in order. But now I'm thinking like, okay, well, let's just try and shoot 3 and see how that does. And if that ends up being strenuous even, let's go to 2. Or maybe I could go to just having a weekly cycle of going out there to film. That'll probably give me more time during the day to do action figure photography on the campus anyway, because that's the original thing I started doing there. I've been doing action figure photography on the college campus I work at way longer than I've been shooting my videos there, and if you haven't checked out my Instagram, I think I'm always getting better at that stuff, so hey, maybe go check that out. And I'm definitely going to shoot some more stuff this weekend. And that's just kind of the plan, is to play it by ear, see how tomorrow goes, because I want to be out of there about noon, 1 o'clock. Typically I'm there all day. I literally leave as the sun is going down. This week I'm going to get up like right at the crack of dawn, and I'm going to try and be out of there by lunchtime. And we're going to see how that goes. We're going to see how many videos I can do, how many photos I can get, and just kind of gauge from there. So that's what's been going on that end, the sort of main content production video end this week. But also, I've been developing some side stuff. I took a night where I've kind of decided, because I was just making Tuesdays and Thursdays my video game night. I get home from work and I just play a video game until I'm ready to go to bed. And while that is nice, that is a good way to unwind, I find that like I tend to start to lose interest in the game, or start to not be as good as I am at it by about an hour and a half in. Like right at an hour is where I peak in terms of skill and interest. So I've decided to start cutting it off at about an hour and devoting the extra time I have before bed to other stuff that I want to get done. And the first of those things is just being able to shoot indoor figure photography more regularly. That's now my Tuesday night thing, is for the last 2 hours before bed I do figure photography, and it's been very nice and relaxing. A little stressful to clean up, but figure photography is always stressful to clean up. It just is that way. But then on Thursdays I am devoting the same amount of time to making shorts of my older content, and you'll know all about this by now. This will be a regular thing by the time you're hearing about this, but I decided, because I talked it over with the Modular Boys at our production meeting for the month, because we have a monthly production meeting before the monthly episode of AF now, about like, Boingo's been doing shorts and TikTok clips of his content for a while. How's that work? What do you think? Is that worth getting into? And he was like, yeah, but just kind of pace yourself, see what works and what doesn't. And I've kind of decided that the best thing for me right now is to do, and I'm calling it a 1-month trial, but honestly, as long as it doesn't do like ungodly bad, if it's more than like 5 views of shorts, then I'm going to continue doing weekly double weekend releases of shorts made from my older content, basically cutting like little 1-minute clips of videos that have already been out for a really long time. And I'm starting with the original Gokaiger analysis, because that's the oldest thing presently on the channel, and it seems like it's pretty easy to split it up into little bite-sized chunks, and I'm gonna keep doing that. I want to do that with all my content, and just see how it goes until I hit current stuff, and am kind of keeping pace with myself. That doesn't mean that I want to basically just break it all down into little 1-minute segments, and you're going to be able to watch the whole video as shorts. And I should mention, I'm also going to be releasing these on TikTok. I went and made a TikTok account for this. But it's going to be like slightly re-edited, maybe condensed a bit, maybe the footage is moved around a bit, maybe some stuff from the main video is cut out because it's superfluous to the point. It's giving me a chance to go back and look at old content too, is something I've discovered, and say like, oh, this didn't need to be here, this was an extraneous line, I didn't need to insert this clip for effect. I can kind of just boil it down to my words. That's been very fun to do with the Gokaiger analysis, because I've got about the first 5 to 7 minutes, I want to say, done as shorts right now. But that's only boiled out to, well, no, it's got to be more than 5 minutes, because I know I've cut a good bit of stuff out. I've cut at least, I want to say 4 minutes of stuff out, and I have 5 shorts that are all about a minute long, all scheduled to go up. And it's gonna be, again, you guys have probably noticed, but I'm just saying it for like archival purposes. Right now I'm planning to do one every Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. because according to the analytics page, during the weekend, that is when the people who are subscribed to my content or watching my content, that was a weird way to pronounce that, but that is when people who are watching my content on YouTube are at their most active. There's a 2-hour period on Saturday from 2 to 4, and there's a 3-hour period on Sunday from 2 to 5. So I want to capitalize on that by releasing a shorts every week at those times. TikTok is going to be a little more fudgy because you can't schedule a TikTok. You have to just upload it and immediately make it live. Now you can make it private and you can make it live another time, but that's still going to be like, I'm guessworking it here. I'm gonna go with the flow like I normally do on Saturdays and Sundays, and just as soon as I see that the new short is up, go like, oh, okay, and then put the TikTok up, and not really make a big deal out of it. I'm also not gonna like promote these to high hell on Twitter and Tumblr. I'm just gonna kind of let them do their things in their own little algorithms, because I'm also just making the descriptions for all of them like, hey, watch the full video here, or the end screen and the only card is going to be that as well. These are basically meant to be advertisements for the main video that they're clipped out of, and I don't think, and that's why it's not always going to be everything. I'm not putting the entire Gokaiger analysis out as clips, just what little chunks of it I think can work as clips, and that has been a good bit of it so far, a good bit of my actual script and not clips I inserted for effect, but it's still like there's more effect that you get if you go watch the main video, and I want to keep it that way. I want to use these as a way to promote my content rather than become my content. I'm not all of a sudden going to start doing stuff that's specifically for TikTok and shorts, especially because TikTok seems like it's constantly in danger of being shut down by the government, and shorts, I'm pretty sure YouTube is going to drop as soon as they lose interest in it. But who knows how long that's going to be, because the live streaming still exists, but they're just not doing a ton of updates for it anymore because it's no longer their focus. That being said, though, I am also considering doing live streams. This is another thing I talked about with the modular boys, because I've noticed Vangelis and Javi the Hong have really gotten into doing unboxing streams for their new figures, and I've watched a couple of those and they're pretty solid, and I'm like, this is content I could easily do. I usually like to devote an evening to opening like a handful of figures when I get them and taking some initial photos and stuff like that, and I could easily do that as a stream, and then that's more regular content. That's a more direct way to interact with the audience, and so that's something I'm going to be looking into doing. I'm probably going to set aside some time for that this weekend, probably on Sunday, to pick out a program I want to use and learn the ins and outs of it. I may even try and do a stream this week, because I got a word on some items I'm interested in. I got a lead, so we'll see if I can track those down, and if I can find time during the week or even next weekend. It's a lot of ifs in that department, but that's something I definitely want to do. I want to diversify my content a lot more. I'm enjoying these weekly videos I've been making, but I'm also like, I can be doing more. I do have the time and energy to do it now that I've kind of gotten the hang of this, and I've gotten I've now got the microphone, the piece of equipment that means I don't necessarily have to worry about reshoots and stuff like that, which honestly, it's entirely my fault for starting editing that video on Monday. If I had started editing it on Sunday, I could have been like, oh, the audio quality and this is awful, I'm just going to drive over to the campus and reshoot it right now. But because I've been editing my videos on Mondays, because I have Mondays off right now, it was like, oh, damn it, I'm screwed on this. So the intention right now is to shoot all those videos on Monday or Saturday morning, and I'm going all over the place right now, but to shoot those videos on a Saturday morning, and then have enough time Saturday afternoon, evening, outside of components, to edit it and upload the first one of them. But if I can't do that, I'm not going to declare it like the end of the world. It's just going to be like, all right, I missed a week. Now we know it can happen, but I'm still going to get back on track, and I'm probably just going to release 2 videos the following week. And I want to keep that whole thing going, but I also want to just keep doing more. I want to really lean into this and do everything I can to make it work. You know what I'm saying? I think I've said that a bunch of times before, and I may even say that in one of this month's videos. I don't know, we'll see. But that's all the work stuff I've been doing this week. Not a whole lot of life stuff to report. I had some dumb shit happening in life, but it's nothing we really need to get into right now. It's not a big enough hang up, and I mean, I got a therapy session on Monday, so I can work on it then. But have been watching quite a bit of stuff. Better Call Saul season 3 finally got that knocked out, and oh boy, it's a nice big step up from the first 2 seasons. I thought I really enjoyed season 3 of that show. Did some really cool stuff, some great character building, some really interesting moments. And did some stuff that like started to make the initial status quo of these characters in Breaking Bad make more and more sense. And also had what I would call like the first truly shocking ending to a season of this show, because Breaking Bad would have that a whole lot. It would have like a big shock, and then it would give you a moment of like, okay, now we're gonna move on with the characters, and we'll see in a few months. And Better Call Saul has more so been going for like big shock and cut. See you next season. You don't even get to know a moment of like where the characters are going, and they've done that twice now with the first 2 seasons, but it never like really got me. It was never like an oh fuck moment on the level of Breaking Bad, and that was kind of one of my biggest hangups with the show, is like it's trying to have those big moments, but it's not hitting it. It hit it with the season 3 cliffhanger for me. That was insane. But yeah, not much else to say about that. So I did actually really enjoy Dynamite this week. I felt there were some pretty good promos, some pretty good setup for Revolution, which I'm low-key looking forward to now. It's not like I was like, oh god, like last week I really felt like, oh god damn it, do I have to watch Revolution? I almost don't want to this year. It seems like a bit of a chore. But there was some fun stuff this week. Really enjoyed the casino battle royals and all that. Some fun match types that I wish were on the pay-per-view because they're so fun, but I understand you got more stuff you gotta go around. You got a 60-minute match happening on that pay-per-view. So you gotta make room for that shit. And putting the casino battle royals on TV instead is a fairly good choice right there, Tony Khan. So thank you. And I gotta watch Rampage. Oh god, when am I gonna do that? Maybe tomorrow afternoon. We'll see what's going. I've also been trying to read more actual books. I've been putting it off because it was the next series on my list. I was trying to read a bunch of smaller one-off stuff, but I started reading Dune. I'm reading the original Dune saga that starts with the original Dune. I'm not going to read the entire Dune universe right now, but I've got Dune Messiah, and I'm going to read the rest of the ones in that line of story. And I have read the original Dune before, but that was a few years ago now, and I haven't seen either of the movies, so I wanna read through the entire original Dune series before I watch any of these. So I'm rereading the original right now to kind of refresh my memory of it, and then I'm gonna go into Dune Messiah, which I just got. And also I've been reading Sister Carrie, which is a old like big boy professional get your English degree type book that I'd never even heard of, but Regular Car Reviews started doing an audio book of it on their streams because it's in the public domain, and Mr. Regular just likes talking about English literature type stuff, and I was like, this book is pretty interesting. Let's give it a go. And so I've been listening to that at work as well, trying to carve out time now where it used to be like, I gotta put a pause on my podcast to use my fucking Audible credit and listen to stuff this week. Now it's more like I'm setting aside my Fridays, because Fridays are generally like a quieter day at work anyway. I have a ton to do because all the rooms that I normally can't get access to during the rest of the week are now freed up because there's almost no classes on Friday, and so I have to hustle to make sure all those rooms get done and they're good for Monday and the following week, because I won't be able to get into them again until next Friday. But there's also like barely anyone there, so it's real nice and quiet. Nobody fucks with me. I can kind of just get in, do my thing for all 8 to 10 hours, and then get out. And so I realized, like, okay, that's the optimal time to be listening to books. Friday is now book day. That's to put on the Audible or the YouTube uploaded audiobook or the I found it on a special website audiobook, that kind of stuff. Because I don't know what it is. I read comics just fine. I just can't books with no pictures in them. I am genuinely that person where I don't think I have dyslexia, but I feel like I have dyslexia whenever I try and read a regular book that is just text on a page. My eyes start darting around. My head starts swirling. I'm like, I can't keep all this straight. I can't figure out where I'm supposed to be and how to move in a straight line from point A to point B. This is ridiculous. So audiobooks have just always worked better for me. So right now it's Dune, it's Sister Carrie, and I'm probably going to keep that going for a while. And then Earthspark dropped new episodes today. Oh, I almost completely forgot. Friggin' Mandalorian came back this week. Great first episode for season 3. Nice kind of get you back in the mood a bit thing. Not much to say. It's Mandalorian. If you like the show, you're going to like this episode. If you don't like it, you're not going to like it. We're 3 seasons in The Mandalorian now. Yeah, you know how you feel about it if you know how you feel about it. I know there's a lot of people who say, like, oh, it went downhill in season 2 because it started setting up so many spin-offs, and I'm like, well, they were always going to do that's been Disney's mission with Star Wars since day one, is to get it to a more Marvel-y place. So if you didn't expect that to happen in Mandalorian, I think you're the idiot there. And I think they did it pretty solidly. It made sense for the man encountering these characters and setting up their stories, because he's just kind of this wandering Knights Templar spaceman. And that's what makes him interesting, is the different adventures he gets into every week and how they set up all these other things. That's my opinion, and season 3's premiere did a good job of showing that. Like he goes to like a bunch of different planets and meets up with a bunch of different side characters from the previous seasons, all in the same episode, and that's pretty cool. I like that. And then we're still rocking and rolling with the current season of Bad Batch, which has just been phenomenal. I really like Star Wars Bad Batch. I don't know, because I see those figures everywhere, and I don't know if I'd want to buy them, because those designs, those character designs for the Bad Batch just aren't super interesting to me in the way that regular clones are. But I love the characters. I love the show. Omega is a precious baby who must be protected, and not much else to say about that. But yeah, Earthspark came back today, dumped a whole bunch of episodes on Paramount Plus, and unlike with the first batch, Paramount Plus is magically working on my PC, so I haven't had to torrent them. And I've only watched the first 3 of this new batch, but ooh, they were nice. They were good. The little 2-episode arc focusing on hashtag, which is a perfectly fine name for a Transformer. I've seen some people kind of clowning on that, and I called one person in particular out for it because I knew it was a joke. He'd appreciate if he saw it, he wouldn't get mad for it. But honestly, if you think hashtag is a dumb name for a Transformer, allow me to remind you that there is a character named Ratchet. There's a character named Sparkplug. There is a character named Skids. There was a character who for a very long time was named Slag. Transformer names aren't particularly clever or special. It's just a technical term, or a term that sounds phonetically like the thing they look like or what their personality is. That's the way that shit looks. You rarely get stuff that's as genuinely creative as Optimus Prime and Grimlock. Like, Starscream is kind of close to there, but not really. Bumblebee, he's named that because he's a VW bug, isn't he? Megatron, like, we think of it as an iconic thing now, but back in the 80s, before you have a concept of that character, it's kind of just like a goofy generic villain name, if we're being honest here. And hashtag is no different in my opinion. It's a friggin' Zoomer hacker character who's a bit of a tomboy. The name makes sense to me. And I liked her episode quite a bit. There were a lot of like old internet meme references with her, which could have gotten very old, but they walked the line very nicely, I thought, and made it more fun than anything. And then the episode where she's kind of bonding with Jawbreaker, because he can't figure out what he wants his alt mode to be, was a nice kind of sibling episode. But then the episode after that with frickin' Nightshade, where they encounter Tarantulas and make friends with Tarantulas and come to this whole like scientific angle of trying to figure out what your alt mode is, and also realizing that it doesn't always have to be a disguise, it can be more an expression of who you are. That was really nice, and like as a guy who doesn't care about Beast Wars at all, it finally got me invested in Tarantulas. I want a figure of Earthspark Tarantulas because I like that version of the character. I might just go ahead and buy the Kingdom one. Did they do him in Kingdom, or did they save him back for a Legacy? I forget. It was one of the Spider we did that with. But I want to get the Generations Tarantulas because I enjoyed this version of Tarantulas so much. Who's not really a bad guy, he's just the war kind of messed him up and led him to be more cynical than Nightshade is inclined to be, because they have no concept of the war or experience with it. They just know it was a thing that happened in the past. And then, oh man, making Nightshade kind of a jovial scientist character, almost on the level of Perceptor, and then giving them a freaking owl for their alt mode. Oh man, I need a toy of Nightshade right the hell now. Because like, friggin' Perceptor's my favorite Transformer, and now we have a character that's like Perceptor and has my favorite animal as their alt mode. Ooh, that's real nice. I gotta get my hands on that. But the other thing I gotta get my hands on is some sleep, because it is getting close to midnight, and I want to be able to get up bright and early to go shoot some videos, and we're already at 30 minutes here. By the way, sorry about how long last month's podcast came out to be. I don't know if this one's gonna be as long, but friggin' that was very long. and it should have been. I don't want these to get to be like massive epics, but I do want you to have a nice meaty chunk of content to enjoy about the content. So I hope this first segment served as that. It's been 30 minutes now, so I'm just gonna I'll see ya. So it's the 10th now, and it has been quite the week for me, let me say. Just a lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of bullshit, a lot of cool stuff popping off. It's been quite a bit going on. But I suppose the first thing I should talk about is the shoot that I was alluding to at the end of the last segment. I said I was going to go and shoot all of this month's videos with the new microphone on Saturday, and that kind of sort of didn't end up happening. It is a long and involved story, and I could get into all kinds of little mini rants and stuff about how that went, but the basics of it is, I woke up 3 hours late, didn't get out of the house until like 10 p.m. So I said, okay, well let's 5 hours. I can get 4 videos and some figure photography done in 5 hours. Let's do that. And I'll be home about 2-3 o'clock, and that'll work out fine. So I started doing that. I got the new mic video shot. I got Gokaiger after Gokaiger shot, and then I went to start shooting the next thing, and my camera told me it only had 40 minutes of space left, which is maybe enough for 2 videos, but probably not, and definitely not enough space for the figure photography I needed to do for one of the videos. And I was just kind of, well, shit, what am I gonna do? So I did a thing. I checked the weather and to see if I could come back next week, and at the time it said it was going to be raining all the next weekend, but it wasn't going to be raining tomorrow. Excuse me if I'm yawning during this. It's 10:30 p.m. So I said, okay, I'll just get some photos right now until I hit the time I was originally supposed to come home, and then I'll do this same thing tomorrow. Clean off my phone tonight, I'll get all the shit off of there, and I'll go and do that. So I did that. I got home, and funnily enough, the one piece of equipment besides my phone I took inside, because I kept all the figures I was planning to shoot in case I had more ideas. I kept my new microphone, I kept my tripod, all of that stayed in the car, but I brought my phone, and I brought the lapel mic in, because I reasoned, well, I've shot the video where I am going, where I transition out of the lapel mic, so obviously I won't need the lapel mic anymore except for very specific stuff, so I can just put this in my closet and forget about it for a little while. That decision will come back to bite me in the ass. But then, start cleaning off my phone and stuff. Started taking off the files from the SD card that I had in the audio recorder. And I realized, contrary to what I had said in the Patreon exclusive testing out the microphone video, I do have plenty of space on my SD card to use the highest recording settings, because the point on the timestamp that I thought demarcated minutes of space left actually demarcated hours. So that was annoying. I realized I'd recorded the videos in a smaller audio resolution anyway, so I was like, okay, let's But I went and I did all that, and I got everything ready to go for the next day, and I said, well, if I can record in a better audio quality now, make this microphone sound as good as humanly possible, let's do that. So I got everything set up for recording the audio in the next video with it was gonna be like, oh, I'll just re-record it from scratch and I'll try to say all the same things and keep it about the same and it'll all be good. It'll be great, right? Well, while all that was happening, I started feeling this little stinging sensation on the back of my neck. And I said, oh crap, I think I know what this is, because I'm a pretty pale boy and I was out at the height of the noon high sun time on a completely clear day. The first completely clear shooting day I've had all year. Because usually there's at least a little bit of cloud cover, or like there's a storm rolling in and I'm trying to get the videos done on time. This is the first just completely clear blue skies day, and I was also shooting in the middle of the afternoon, and I had neglected to put on sunblock because I was in such a hurry that I didn't even think that I would need it if I was going to be recording that late. So I got a sunburn. I got a nice red lobstery sunburn all along the back of my neck, and what the hell? Okay. And I got sunburned on my nose and my forehead. So that was great. Had this nice red visage going on, and I had to deal with that. And I also had to dig out our sunblock because we're not big beach people. You can't really be big beach people when you live in this area. You have to plan out a trip to the beach. You have to plan out a whole weekend. And I don't like pools very much, and we don't even own a pool. We have a community pool we can go to, but we don't own one. So I haven't had to think about something like sunblock in quite a while, because usually when I do the yard work here, it takes such a quick amount of time that there's no way for me to get sunburned. So I had to dig out the sunblock. I had to figure out how to deal with this sunburn as best as possible, which is just you rub vinegar on it and you rub lotion on it, lather, rinse, repeat a couple times a day. That's all you can really do with sunburns. Unless it's crazy bad, then you should go see a doctor. But I dealt with all that, and I stuck to my plan to go and re-record everything and record the stuff I couldn't record the next day. But then my camera did the out of space thing again, and I was going, what the heck? I thought I cleaned it off, and I completely forgot. Oh yeah, that's right. I have 2 different music playlists, one for driving, one for the gym, and I have a podcast playlist that take up a ton of storage space on my phone downloaded on YouTube, because I pay for YouTube Premium because I want to be able to listen when the app is closed. I like the mini player, and I like downloading videos to my phone because I don't always have the best Wi-Fi access where I work. And to me, it's worth it to do that, and then like also have an ad blocker, so YouTube is just completely ad free for me, and I'm not like bilking any creators out of money. So I had all this space on my phone that was being taken up by this shit, and I realized it after reshooting the first 2 videos, shooting a third one, realizing that there was a lack of space on my phone, deleting the reshoots of the first 2 videos, one of which I had already had to like improvise and completely rework. There's a second version of the video that actually came out this week. There's a second version of it where I had to completely rework it because I forgot the lapel mic at home. I had thrown it in the closet and I just completely forgot it, and I got mad at myself. And I said, okay, we can still redo this. Let's just use the new audio recorder from the start, and then bring up why the audio sounds better at one point. Say like, oh hey, you notice anything? Have you been noticing anything different about this video? Well, here's why it sounds so good. And then like after you talk about that and big up Bryce and all that stuff, just say, also, here's what it sounds like through the phone's microphone right now. And just cut to that. I could do that. That'd be a nice reversal on the whole concept. Well, you'll never get to see that because that video got deleted because I thought, oh, I need space on my phone to record the other 2 because I'm not going to be able to come back until next week. I'm not going to be able to come back next weekend. I need to get this all sorted right now. So I dealt with that, and then I realized the thing about the playlist, and I had all the space in the world suddenly, and I was so ticked off. I was so ready to get mad, and I had already been going for like 2 hours straight after having gone for 4.5 hours the previous day. So I shot the other 3 videos that I had on the docket, and I don't think they came out well. Like, we'll see in the edit, but I don't think anything after Gokaiger didn't actually shoot that well. And I might be reshooting them, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But suffice to say, it's a huge nightmare. I ended up not having any time to edit or do like extra stuff during the weekend like I normally like to. I literally had to shoot these videos, come home, clean off my phone, reshoot the videos, realize that I had made an oopsie, and then reshoot all over again. And then I got home and I had to do all the legwork for No Prize and Twit and all that stuff. And so my weekend was just completely shot. I didn't get any time to myself. I didn't get any time to work on projects. I mean, technically this is working on projects, yes, but it's also like, this is one thing that's taking way longer than it should be. This should be like one day out of the month. And instead it ended up being like an entire weekend nightmare thing that kind of caused me to reevaluate my shooting strategy. And I'll talk about that again a little bit more later. But now on to something good that did happen, which is starting shorts and TikToks. I can't remember if I alluded to it all or talked about it all at the end of the last video, but I've been seeing more and more creators get in on the shorts thing, get in on the TikTok thing, just by taking clips and whatnot of their older content or even their content that was releasing that week and just posting that as a way to promote the content, the main thing. Just like here, I'm engaging with the feature YouTube, be happy with me, and also it'll hopefully bring a new audience to my bigger content, and it's actually been working fairly well. And so I decided I would finally do that. I can't remember why I came to that decision. I was just like, I should expand my arsenal a little bit, diversify my portfolio, if you will. So we're going to start making shorts. It'll be a good way to bring new life to old content. So I've been working on creating shorts for the Gokaiger analysis. I figured I could chop that up into a bunch of clips and it would work fairly well. And I said to myself, we'll give this a 1-month trial. We'll see if it goes well, and we'll post like 2 a week on the weekend, one Monday, one Sunday at 2 p.m. when, according to my analytics at the time, my subscribers were most active. Now it's showing like the height of subscriber activity is really concentrated in 5 to 7 p.m. on Sunday. It seemed to be more evenly distributed when I made this decision, but there was like a good concentration from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, but it shifted now for whatever reason, but that's why I made the decision to release that way. So I made a bit of an announcement about it, I got it going, and it's gone over really well. The first short got about 50 views on YouTube, and currently it's up to over 800 views on TikTok. And I should say, by the way, I don't know anything about TikTok. Like, I've seen videos from TikTok, but I don't really use TikTok, the app, all that much. I downloaded it specifically to start doing this. I'd never downloaded it before. I'd had friends show me it. I'd seen TikToks embedded on other websites, but TikTok wasn't a website I frequented a whole lot because I just didn't really see the appeal of the format. Really short content where the whole point of it is just like a very quick point with not a lot of elaboration or backing to it, or just a quick joke, or just a quick look at me, I'm sexy. That doesn't really appeal to me. That's not really something that I want to engage with. I want to watch stuff a little longer, a little more substance, a little more something going on. But it's clearly swept through most people's interest, and it's become a big thing. And when you're a creator, you have to kind of acknowledge these things, which is why I didn't necessarily get mad at YouTube creating the shorts feature as an attempt to cash in, as a clear, blatant attempt to say, hey, we're still young, hip, and cool. You can do the TikTok thing over on our website. Please don't drive us into bankruptcy and extinction with this. I thought it was fine, especially because it led to like Content ID getting waxed a little more. Now you can put like up to a minute of a song in a video, because that's the fucking length of shorts and TikToks, is as long as a minute. Although TikTok is now doing like paywalled minute plus content, which is a little goofy, but whatever. So I found all that was fine, and I finally got the gumption to engage with it, and like I said, it's been going fairly well, because the first one, which was just called What is a Hero, because it's just like the opening little bit of that video, that did fairly well. But the second one has been doing extremely well, and I think that's literally because I gave it a very apt, a very true, but also a pretty enticing kind of clickbaity title of A Brief History of Super Sentai, which is what that segment of the video is. It's me running down like a bit of establishing the world that Gokaiger exists in that video, but it's also like something a lot of people would be interested in checking out if they're curious about Sentai, or if they like Sentai, they'll want to see, because they'll want to be like, I want to make sure this is all right and I know about it. So that's done. Oh goodness, I've forgotten. I'm gonna pull up my YouTube studio right now. So that did almost 400 views in this first week on YouTube. On TikTok, it has done 2,459 views as of this recording. And my TikTok numbers have been crazy good, actually, since making this little 2-video weekend debut. I've gone from having absolutely nothing when I created it like a few days beforehand, to now cumulative over 3,000 views on both videos, 354 likes, and 29 followers, which I'm sure is fairly minuscule in terms of TikTok, but coming from YouTube and YouTube's current metrics and how long it took me to just get over 100 subscribers on YouTube, that's really good. That's really encouraging, and that shows that like TikTok is definitely the happening bar on the street. It's the place you want to be if you're a creator right now, and I'm kind of a fool for holding out as long as I did. So I went ahead and just mentally said, like, yeah, we're gonna keep up with this for as long as we can. There's gonna be two shorts / TikToks every week from now on, of just whatever is the next oldest video in line. And with that, I can probably keep that going for a significant amount of time, because I've literally just been clipping things out. I've not been doing like the whole video. It's not just like the video 1 minute at a time, but I've been boiling the parts down to little 1 minute segments, or multiple 1 minute segments for one part, and that's going over fairly well. And there's still content in the videos that you're not getting in the clips, so the main videos are still valid, I feel. And it's also allowing me to re-explore some editing in like both video and scripting wise, because I'm cutting out like little extraneous little context pieces to my script that I like in a larger video. But if you're trying to make a video that's a minute or less and you want to get all this information out there, you got to kill your darlings. And it's been really interesting getting my mind into that frame of mode, and also just going like from I'll try this because it's the fucking in thing to do, I guess, to like, oh, this really works and this could really help out my content in the long run. Let's actually put some work into this. So I went from just being like, here's a clip and maybe I'll move, I've cut it down to fit in a minute, and maybe I'll move the footage around a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about better, because in the frickin' portrait mode that all those videos have to be in, sometimes when I've got like more than one bit of footage on the screen, you can't really get a good look at it. So I'll kind of move the video around and whatnot to make that easier. To, okay, now we're throwing my logo on these things. We're putting when the full video was originally posted, and we're very much pushing that like this is an advertisement for the main video. And also we're going to go ahead and get out until April 2nd. And April 2nd is actually going to be the first time that I have 2 posts in a day. because it's a little two-part, like, here's everything I had to say about most of the Gokaijers. I gave Joe, like, his own segment in the video, and Marvelous and Guy as well, so those are probably going to be individual shorts. But, like, Luca, and Dawn, I did as all one video, chunk that was all kind of interconnected. So I edited that down into 2 shorts, and they're both going to release on April 2nd. There's still going to be a short on April 1st. It's not going to be like a joke or anything like that, because I don't really engage with April Fool's Day too often unless I have a really good idea, or what I feel is a really good idea. But it's going to come out on April 1st just because that's the first Sunday of the month. So gotta do something then. Oh, or that's the first Saturday of the month, excuse me. And God, what a fucking stressful, not relaxing Saturday that's gonna be, because April Fool's Day is always a massive pain in the ass if you're turbulent online like me. Yeah, that's going really well for me. And so is the video I put out this week, because I did get a video out this week, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. The video showing off the new mic and kind of talking about, like, where I'm at mentally as a creator right now and how thankful I am again to Bryce. Bryce, I hope you're listening to this, and I hope you hear this. Thank you. I just massively appreciate what you did for the channel. That video went over fairly well. Like, it didn't do numbers, obviously, because it's a channel update video with my face in the thumbnail instead of like an appealing thing. Not that I think I'm unattractive. I'm a slightly above average guy in terms of like my face. I don't think my body's too great, but we're working on that. Gym's been going pretty good this month. Did somebody actually noticed in the comments on that video and pointed out, like, hey, you look like you're losing weight. Nice job, man. And I was like, hey, thanks. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but I have been dieting and exercising quite a bit so far this year. Been going to the gym for an hour or 2, 3 days a week. And I'm not necessarily like doing a strict diet, but I'm doing like okay, you're going to buy your own food and you're going to consciously make the choice to eat healthy as much as possible. But it's okay to cut loose like a couple times. Not necessarily like a cheat day or like I'm going to eat a fucking giant stack of pancakes like The Rock today kind of a thing. But just like, you've been good this week. You can have a bag of M&Ms. Or, you've been good the last couple weeks. Have a burger or a fucking meal out or something like that, you know. Don't be afraid to treat yourself. Don't torture yourself with this. It's supposed to be a fun thing, so give yourself like semi-regular food rewards. And that's been going pretty well. And the video's been going pretty well. It's got a decent amount of views for what it is on my channel right now. And I feel like it came out fairly well. The only real issue with it is that, as anybody who's seen it will know, I had to insert a gag of me saying middle child because during the recording, I accidentally said only child. And I do these things in like one take with just like pausing to think out the next sentence every once in a while. So there was no like, oh man, gotta go to the alternate take that's not quite as good, but I say the right thing. It was just like, alright, either I'm reshooting this today, like I'm gonna drive to the campus and reshoot this right now, because as I was editing it, it was like the campus is mostly empty and I could just go and do that. Or I could just re-record this line and turn it into an editing gag. And I chose to do that. And I know at least one person appreciated it. Buster like instantly messaged me as soon as that went up on Patreon. I was like, that's hilarious. So I'm happy for that. But I'm also just annoyed that I had to do it anyway, because like it's the latest channel update, so I went ahead and set it as the channel trailer. I want to have an actual proper channel trailer with like footage from all my videos edited together to some cool music at some point. But I also want to get like well into doing this as my style of video, the outdoor vlog thing as my main style of video, before I do that, before I have like a permanent channel trailer that is that. Right now it's fine to just have like the newest update video, because that's what it was for a while there. The 11th year where I announced this new video, that video, or where I announced this new era, that video has been the channel trailer up until now, and now the new microphone video is, and I'm sure there will be 1 or 2 more channel updates throughout the year until then. Not sure on what though, but that went over fairly well. But just because of the nature of like I had to reshoot it and I chose not to go with that because I needed space and all this and that, I've kind of decided that like I want to give semi-weekly shooting ago instead of just once a month doing a full day on the campus. Maybe like every other week I do an afternoon, because I need to be home in the morning to hang out with my nephew, because that's the only time he's here and he's active and I'm not busy, is Saturday morning. But I could come over Saturday afternoon, shoot 2 videos, shoot some figure photography, be back by dinner time, and I kind of like that idea. Now obviously I won't be able to do that every week because it will rain some weeks, but hopefully I can kind of plan around that. I could maybe like stockpile 1 or 2 semi-evergreen videos of like break glass in case of rainy day. It's an idea, and I'm gonna test it out, but obviously not right now because I'm pretty sleepy. But I will test it out in the not too distant future, just not this week, because I've got a bunch of stuff around the house that needs to get done, and I want to spend some time with my nephew because I didn't get any time with my nephew last weekend, and we've also got a lot of stuff going on for modular this week that really needs to get the proper attention it deserves. So we're going with the second take of Gokaiger after Gokaiger instead of the third take, and definitely not the first take because the audio was windy garbage. And we'll see how that comes out. As for media I've been checking out this week that I wouldn't really discuss anywhere else, I did try and watch AEW Revolution, but I think I'm just getting too old, man. I'm getting too old and too busy to be watching a 4-hour wrestling show with nothing but matches on it. It's just exhausting for me, because, like, I tried to put it on for a little bit while I was, like, going through footage and stuff on the Monday, and I was doing some editing, and I got an hour and a half in, and I was like, this is too much energy for me right now. I can't take this. And I didn't intend to go back and finish it later, but then I was just like, fuck it, I'll watch a recap review thing. I'll get an idea for what's going on and what storylines are going to be kicking off after it, who came back, who did a run-in, those kind of things. Yeah, it seems like it was an interesting show. It seems like it was a pretty good show. I didn't hate the first hour and a half. I was just like, I don't have the energy to enjoy this right now. So, did that, and then I watched the Fallout Dynamite, and that was okay. Wrestling's definitely getting kind of back on track, but it's taking a minute getting there, I feel like. And I also don't really care for the fact that, like, a lot of my favorites at AEW aren't getting a lot of cool stuff to do right now. Like Hangman got a great little storyline with Mox, that's nice, and it seems like they're probably going to do something else with him next. I wouldn't be surprised if, because he won that feud, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on to be MJF's next challenger, and I'd be down for that, honestly. But then, like, Private Party and Matt Hardy are nowhere near the tag championships right now. They're in the middle of some stupid storyline with The Firm and Ethan Page, which I don't dislike Ethan Page, I just don't care for what they're doing with him right now. Shawn Spears is fucking missing, and Wardlow just got the TNT championship back, became a 2-time champion, and then got dicked out of it a few days later. And like, good for Hobbs, yeah, he deserves it, and he definitely earned it, putting in all the work at this company he has done since he came in. But like, Wardlow really hasn't gotten a moment since the end of that MJF, and that's kind of sad, because we were all so excited for him at one point, and now he's just bleh. Also, Hikaru Shida is missing. I don't think I've seen her in like weeks. And by missing, or I don't know where they are, I mean they're not on Dynamite or Rampage when I watch it. They could be on Dark or Elevation for all I know, but I'm not gonna go watch those shows. Because again, that's fucking extra 2 hours of wrestling. Hour apiece added into my week with not a lot of promos or character work. Just, here is a match. Here's a match to improve this person's record. And it's like, meh. I don't have time for that. I don't have energy for that. That's not gonna hold my interest. Sorry. Also Bryan Danielson. He just left. Because he got his ass beat by MJF and he wanted to tell his kids he loved them. And that's understandable. But where you going, buddy? Also, I don't think I've seen Eddie in a few weeks. I don't know what they're doing with Mox now that his feud with Hangman's over. And they've turned a lot of the female wrestlers I was interested in heel. And they either don't work as heels, or it's like I know them as heels so well from WWE that I'm just like, oh, this is just them doing their WWE character again. Okay, I don't care. Can you please be interesting and fun again? You know, it's that kind of a thing. So it's like I'm just kind of waiting for something really interesting to pop off and grab my interest again. Not a bad Dynamite this week, but not great. And I'm not really interested in watching Rampage this week, so I'm probably not going to do that, even though I might have time. And then I watched Encanto, the Disney film that everybody was obsessed with during the pandemic. And I fucking hated it. It was... I don't know, man. Like, I hesitate to call it bad, because, like, the animation was fucking gorgeous. The art style was a bit homogenous and generic, but, like, the actual animation was so smooth and characterful that, like, I couldn't ever, like, get mad at the movie, but I was always just like, that's the most boring choice you could have made, writing-wise. So much of it is so on the nose and just like, do you get it? This is this person's trauma. They just don't know how to say it properly, so we're just alluding to it. Aren't we clever? Don't you feel validated in your struggles with your family, millennials? It just got really tiring after like the first 20 minutes, I want to say. Like, as soon as the one kid gets his power and then the main character starts singing again, I was just like, I get it. I fucking get what her problem is. Shut up and get to her trying to fix it. And as I understand that, that's just kind of how Lin-Manuel Miranda can be. Which is weird. Because, like, my first conscious exposure to him was Moana. And I really liked Moana. But I didn't like Hamilton. And I didn't like this very much. And kind of for similar reasons of, like, you're throwing, like, these weird musical styles in, and you're doing these very absurd, on-the-nose lines of dialogue and lyrics, and just ain't working for me, dog. Gotta be honest. I genuinely don't think Hercules was ever like, yo, I don't want to fight Cerberus, which is probably the worst lyric in any song ever written in the history of the human race and all time throughout the universe. When that scene happened, that was like a brief flare-up of true Vacuuminator Megaforce Sucks vitriol anger, where I wanted to fucking bust a brick across Lynn's face. And I knew that line was coming too, because Todd in the Shadows made fun of that in a video a few months ago. But I got to it and I was like, wow, it's even worse in context. It feels so lazy. It feels so just like, do you get it? Do you fucking ask me what it means? And also, we don't talk about Bruno, that song that was on the fucking radio, that song that like every talk show and YouTube personality did a parody of. I never watched any of those, I never listened to it on the radio because I don't listen to the radio. So I went into it completely blind, and God, what a fucking letdown that song was. It's so basic, it's so short, it's again so on the nose, and it's giving us information we really already had from the rest of the movie. And I was just like, fuck this. fuck all basic bitch normies who just consume Disney product and say is good. Because, like, I know I potentially come off like that to some people. What with doing No Prize and being a Star Wars fan and being a comic book boy in general and talking about DuckTales these last few podcasts. But, like, I like Disney stuff. I like a lot of Disney properties, but I'm not afraid to criticize it. I'm not afraid to go like, this ain't the best, or this is shit, you know. I've been very vocal about my dislikes of What If and Miss Marvel and Star Wars Visions, and now this. Because this made me blow a gasket, almost, kinda, in spirit, I guess. And just go like, there are people who love this movie. I know it. I've seen it. I know it's a fact. I know this movie had a shit ton of merchandise. I know this was like almost a second Frozen. And to those people, I say, go fuck yourself. You fucking stupid little piggies, just getting up to the Disney Plus trough and consuming whatever comes at you. I bet you liked The World According to Jeff Goldblum too. I bet you're really excited for Renovations. I bet you're fucking chomping at the bit for the next episode of I don't know, Sophia the First. Is that show any good? I haven't watched it. I saw like 10 minutes of it once when I was watching a friend's daughter, and it seemed alright. And I know, like, being a Sophia the First enjoyer is a meme, but I've never actually sat down and watched a full episode of it. So I don't know if it's any good. I just threw that name out there because it was the first one that came to me. Anyways, I played Batman Arkham Asylum finally. And yeah, that game is exactly as good as everybody has always said it is. It is really fun. Nice little story. Some cool puzzles. Some frustrating puzzles. Some weird mechanics that I had to look up walkthroughs to figure out. But nothing like super frustrating. I never got stuck anywhere. I never got like really mad. I never spent an inordinate amount of time on something. Like there's a few nitpicks I have. Like the only character designs I like are Batman and Joker. Gordon and all the other like police officer type guys and even like the warden of Arkham Asylum look like big fucking bare knuckle boxer boys, and I don't think that works for those characters. At least especially not for Gordon. I like Gordon being spelt. And I didn't like his voice actor either. He sounded like he was just like they hired him to voice all the generic thugs in the game, and then they went, you can be Gordon too. Fucking Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are just fetish outfits. They're just fetish outfits. They don't say anything about their characters. There's nothing interesting going on. They're not even that appealing to look at. Like, I could maybe see myself getting a boner from Poison Ivy if I was 14, but Harley, it's like the worst possible rendition of the sexy nurse thing, and I'm already not into the sexy nurse thing. I don't get sexy nurse. I don't get sexy schoolgirl. I don't get sexy cheerleader. None of that kind of shit appeals to me. And you try and do it with Harley, and it just looks stupid. I hate it. I hate those character designs. I don't like how Killer Croc has like all these fucking needles as his teeth. That looks really stupid. I don't like, I really don't like how Scarecrow looks like a fucking twink, and yet is still wearing his mask and has this big ridiculous glove that would never work in universe, or like in reality. And just all those character designs are bad. Also, like, why did Joker need to become a monster mash for the final fight? It's not like a literal fight. You beat him up a couple of times, but you're mostly fighting goons and like doing stuff to fuck with him during that fight. There was no reason for him to become a monster mash. I know the story implications that are coming in the later games with that, and I like that stuff. That's a good extrapolation on that. But in the moment, taking this game as its own thing, Joker becoming a big stupid Bane monster mash is the dumbest thing ever, and the design looks so like 90s tryhard. But the game was still really good, really fun, and I enjoyed playing it, and I've already bought and downloaded Arkham City, and I'm going to be starting it as soon as I wrap up this podcast. So the only other real thing to talk about is I watched the first 2 episodes of Better Call Saul Season 4, and they were pretty good. I really like how they dealt with the fallout of Chuck's death, and kind of like Howard's unceremonious, God, that was hard to say. But his sort of banishment from the show or the way he handles it. Like, that was really good stuff. And it made me realize that I actually really liked Howard as a character, and I'm kind of sad to see him go. I don't know if he comes back in later seasons, but I kind of felt like that was like the show saying we're done with Howard now. And I really liked Howard, because he seemed like a genuinely nice, well-meaning guy. Like, yeah, he had some kind of like stupid upper-class hang-ups that come with being a big corporate lawyer. But, like, he seemed like he genuinely wanted to do right by Kim and not Saul. He's still called Jimmy at this point in his history. He hasn't started calling himself Saul all the time yet. It's just a pseudonym he's used a couple times. But Howard seemed like he genuinely wanted to do right by them. But Chuck was just such a fucking bastard piece of shit that it always went wrong, and it eventually ended up those two hating him. And he just got stuck in the middle of a bad situation, and you kind of feel bad for the guy. But that's Breaking Bad, man. Yeah, you have all these little moments with a character where you feel one way or another about him, and eventually it leaves you going like, oh man, he's not a bad guy. He just got dealt a shitty hand, and he could have had some real good friends here if he didn't. Oh well. So, Better Call Saul is really living up to the legacy of Breaking Bad, I feel. And I'm looking forward to watching the rest of that season when I edit some shit tomorrow. But for now, that is this chunk of the podcast. That's 42 minutes. Probably going to be 44 by the time I'm actually done. But yeah, not much else to say about this week. Just, it was a time. And it was also a lot of ups and downs in online stuff. Like, really cool G.I. Joe stream. Interesting reactions to the latest episode of Mandalorian and Bad Batch. I really like. And some very stupid shit in the Power Rangers fandom today. Oh, and also, like, I met big boy Tokusatsu community member Toku Chris on Monday, and I bought a figure from him, and then I spent a bunch of money at Toy Federation on Vintage Rescue Heroes and a couple other things. And now I'm thinking, like, I really need to get into high gear on toy content. I'm gonna have to figure something out for that. But now I'm just trying to hit that 44 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. I'm just gonna get out of here. I hope I'm gonna get out of here and play some Batman. Oh boy, I'm excited for that. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'll see you in a week. Bye. So it's the 17th, and been a very interesting week. Bit of a shit sandwich with two very tasty pieces of bread, but still a lot of shit. Annoying stuff and going through the motions kind of thing. It's weird because next week is spring break, so things have really been like slowing down at work. But in life, it never slows down. So, you know, I kicked off the week by having a pretty good Monday, busting my ass, getting stuff done. I tried something new. I added a new little type of content to my arsenal, solo live streaming, which you guys came out for, and I did appreciate that quite a bit, because it was really just like me thinking for like a day and a half, I was thinking for like a while that it would be a neat idea, but like not really knowing when, and then having the idea like a day and a half beforehand of like, yeah, this is the moment, let's get this shit sorted. And it was actually a much bigger pain in the ass than it probably looked like behind the scenes, because I had to figure out OBS again, and then I had to figure out Stream Elements on top of that, and then I had to get all that set up, and then I had a problem getting the thing to actually work. There was some driver that was wrong, and I didn't know how to fix that. I tried like a bunch of driver updaters and they didn't work, and so finally I like grabbed Boingo Writer and I was like, hey, can you help me figure this out? I meant to go live like an hour ago and I'm still having this issue. Also, apology, I just hit the mic. So Boingo helped me figure that out, and then we did the stream. The stream's up, you can go watch it. There's a fucking replay. It's not been getting a lot of like post views, but like enough people were there that I constantly felt like there was stuff being said in the chat that I should be replying to, and that's all I really have it be entertaining in the moment. Have people be there and be interested in it then. And then the archive upload is for, just people who want to check it out. I almost never actually live streams. I watch like Boingo's ones sometimes, but I'm not really like into streaming as like I find it really nerve-wracking. I hate watching something where I can talk to the person, because then I feel like I have to constantly be talking to the person. And like, if you're one of the only people there, you risk coming off as annoying, or at least that's how I feel. And if you're one of like dozens and dozens of people who are there, you're more often not going to feel like your voice is getting drowned out by the crowd, which kind of sucks. But people like live streaming. It is a big industry these days. And I'd been feeling the itch ever since Vangelis started doing his unboxing streams at the start of the year. It might have been like Thanksgiving time, actually, but he's been doing it for a little while now. But he's still fairly new to him. He's usually known for doing pre-recorded content, same as me, but I was like, I can probably do that. I could probably do that and be entertaining. I've seen enough people do that kind of live stream now. I'd feel comfortable doing that, so went and did it, and it worked out fairly well. And I think I'm going to do them fairly soon, because I said in the stream that I had a box of stuff from the Hasbro Pulse warehouse sale on the way, and it's still on the way. It's actually supposed to get here tomorrow, so I may just, I can't do the unboxings, and I can't do it Sunday, but we might do another one. And I'm thinking that'll probably be like a regular once or twice a month thing from then on, if people respond to it at least as well the second time as they did the first time. So, yeah, I'm doing a pre-recorded vlog opinion piece video every week. I'm doing 2 shorts a week. And now I'm going to do 1 or 2 live streams a month, plus all the modular media shit, plus my figure photography. I am, like, ascending into a content machine this year, I guess. Isn't that lovely? But I'll tell you what's not lovely. When you are a 2-car household, and suddenly 1 car isn't, because that's where the shit of this week really started, is Tuesday, I woke up to a text from my mom saying that her car just would not start. Started over that weirdly, but it wouldn't start in the parking lot at work, and so she was gonna get it looked at, but she needed to use my car that night, and then she would come back and pick me up and take me home. The same thing on Wednesday if they were still working the car then. And that's what it ended up being. The car was only in the shop for a day. I think it was like a minor electrical problem that was covered under her warranty, but it was still like a day of the nerve-wracking, I don't have full control of my car, somebody else is driving around with it, and like my car, bear in mind, my car is like a clunky piece of shit that I have had to get fixed multiple times since getting it a few years ago. But it's my clunky piece of shit. I feel a little bit protective of it, especially because it's completely paid off. It was completely paid off within a year of getting it. And so, like, that makes me feel very attached to that car. I've often said, I don't care what somebody else offers me, I plan to drive it until I fucking can't anymore. Because I'm not too concerned with appearances vehicle-wise, and as long as it gets me from A to B, that's fine. Well, that and, like, I don't freeze in the winter and I don't fucking cook in the summer. You know, just give me 4 wheels, 2 axles, an engine, and an AC, and I'll be fine. That's what I need from a car. I'm not very picky. But if somebody else is messing with, and I'm this way with anything, whether it's my car, my fucking bank cards, my tools, my figures, my anything, I am just very OCD about that kind of stuff, where it's just like, don't mess with my stuff. If I know you, I trust you, I will give you permission, but I'm still going to be worried about it the whole damn time. And then I'll have to, make sure it gets put back exactly the way it was when you give it back to me. I want you putting it, just give it to me and I'll put it back. It's like, freaking, I got back in that car Thursday morning, and I spent like 10 minutes making sure the seat was the way I like. Because, you know, you get it the way you like it, and it's that way for so long that when somebody else gets in and they fuck it up, you can't remember what that exact way was. You just have to keep futzing with the settings until you get there. That's a horrible thing that is that with cars. And I also hate fucking parking at my school that I work at. It is getting really irritating, the parking situation there, because for a time it was that I would park like right in front of my building. There was a crosswalk, I could get there, it was fine. But then in the fall and the winter, people started parking in all the spots in that area before I got there. I'm like as close to a second shiftman as you can have. There's 2 shifts, but I kind of like run between both of them. So I would get to work and all the spots would be taken, and I'd notice like at least half of the cars didn't have the faculty or staff stickers that you had to have to be in those spots that were right in front of the building. And I would have to be that asshole who would call the campus police and be like, hey, come ticket these fuckers. And finally that let up at like the start of the year. So I started parking in front of the building again. And then one day when the high school that uses the first floor of my building let out, I just happened to be cleaning a room with a window that looked right out on the parking lot, and I just glanced out and I saw there were all these kids using my bumper, my fucking trunk and my hood as like a bench while they were waiting for their parents. And that made my OCD ass so goddamn mad. Like, I work at a school and I'm a janitor, so like I don't want to have the appearance of being the get off my lawn kind of guy, but it did kind of turn me into that guy for a minute, and I seriously considered like filing a complaint with the high school or something like that. But ultimately what I decided to do was just start parking in the dock. That's at like the basement level, just like right up against the wall, out of the way, where the trucks could still back in and do their thing and it wouldn't be a problem. And as long as I was able to get into there and get into the same little niche I had figured out, it would be fine. Now there was one day where I had to come and move my car, but that's because I couldn't park where I normally wanted to, because some stupid fucking high school teacher in a big pickup truck had parked where I would normally park. And so I had to park off to the side, and wouldn't you know it, that was like the one day out of that week that a big fucking box truck for the maintenance department's was going to be using the dock. So they had to come find me and get me to move my car and make me feel like an asshole. But I did that, and then things were fine for like a week and a half. And then on Thursday, after this whole car situation with my mom having set off my OCD with my car, I come down at the end of my shift and I find a passive-aggressive note on my windshield, like, hey, stop parking in the dock. This is for maintenance personnel only. This is your one warning. We're going to start ticketing you after this. And it just said the name of the school and management. It didn't say the police department. It didn't say if it was like a teacher or something like that. But like, I'm pretty sure it had to have been somebody from the high school, or somebody who, or like one of the cops. But I think the cops would have just ticketed me, or they would have like put that it was the campus police. I don't think they would have put management, and I don't think it was my management, because I had already had a conversation with my management like back in February, beginning of February, about like, hey, you know, you're not supposed to park down here, like they can give you a ticket for this. And I'm like, yeah, but they haven't yet, and it's much more convenient for me, and I don't see what the problem is since there's no trucks parked getting in the way. And my boss was like, oh, okay. And I hadn't heard anything about it. So I'm sure it was somebody just fucking getting to be in their bonnet about like, oh, this car isn't supposed to be here. Fuck you, I clean the toilet you shit in. I can park wherever I damn want. That being said, I did park in the regular parking lot because it was Friday and it was almost empty today, so I didn't have trouble getting a good spot. But come back around to Tuesday when I'm going back to work, well, not this week because this week's going to be spring break, but the week after that, you know what I mean. It's going to be jam-packed with fucking stupid high school kids and stupid fucking college kids and their dumbass fucking pickup trucks and all the teachers, everyone else who like only pretends to respect me because they need me. That's what it is like to be a janitor sometimes, and it sucks. But it's only for a limited time. I just gotta back off for a little bit and then I can go back to parking where it's most convenient for me. And it's just a song and dance I'll have to. And I'm fine to do it because eventually I'll be making it on here that I can just flip off the first person who upsets me and quit. I think about that sometimes. That'll be a nice day. But we kind of skipped over Wednesday. Wednesday's important because that's when the new video usually comes out, and that's when the new video did come out this week. I had to crunch all Tuesday night. I was up until like 2:30, but I got it done. I got it up for Wednesday. The Gokaiger After Gokaiger video is finally done. I promised it, like 3 weeks ago? And then I had all those friggin' production issues, and it finally got done and got out, and it came out a lot better than I thought it did. The whole thing flows together really nicely, I thought. The screen caps I was able to find were mostly really good, and most importantly, people really responded to it. Which I was surprised by, because like the whole time editing it, I was like, this is so much. This is not. Oh man, people are gonna be like, I did too much. I bit off more than I could chew, and I made that thumbnail, and the way it kind of like partially blurs around Gokai Red, or I guess Gokai Cross is what that suit is called. I was like, oh, that doesn't look good. Can they read the lettering? This is all those little, like, dowdy YouTuber moments. And then it goes live on Wednesday, and it's instantly, like, the fastest growing video on day one, at least, that I've done all year. The Kamen Rider distribution rant did pretty good, but it was like a slow burn over, like, a week and a half. This was, like, instantly, within the first day, here's 300 views, which, again, let's keep realistic. It's fucking microscopic in grand scheme of you. But for how the algorithm has been treating me this year, that's really damn good. And right now it's almost at 500 views, which basically makes it my most successful video all year. Because the Kamen Rider distribution rant is like, I think almost at 1,000 views, but that's accrued over 2.5 months, whereas this thing got to like half of that in less than a week. So I'm really confident, I'm really happy about that, and I rewatched it and I was like, yeah, okay, it did come out really. People aren't just like scooping it up because it's a new video from me with the word Gokaiger in the title, which made me really happy. The only problem I honestly have with it now is just that, like, I think the new audio recorder might be too good, because like there's almost no background noise in that video to get past the opening credits, because I used the camera audio for the opening credits bit. But the rest of it, it's so clean and crisp, and all you really hear is me talking, except for like a couple instances where you can kind of hear a plane starting to get problem, but it cuts. It sounds like I could have recorded in my room, which is great, it's amazing, but it makes the video feel slightly awkward to me. So I might start experimenting around with music videos again. Though that never really was my strong suit. It's just something I did because I felt like I had to with video essays. So we'll have to see how like the next couple of videos feel, if I can work it in realistically, or if it just proves to be that this will work better. But, and I should say, like, the reason I'm so impressed with that audio being so clear is, like, I recorded that maybe 20 feet away from a road that constantly had cars on it. When I was recording that version of the video, I was like, oh god, I hope this comes out okay. Some of these cars are kind of loud. And all you really hear, again, is planes. And even then, I did, like, some little testing in between takes while the planes were flying over. You can still hear me perfectly fine over the planes, so I don't think I need to stop talking for planes going over, which is incredible. But it's like, how's that going to alter the structure of the videos going? Maybe I don't need in credits anymore to establish the outdoor tone. Maybe I don't need. Maybe I do need to start adding music. You know, it's just something that's in my head, and we're going to see how that. But then, while all that was happening, I came home and did my normal Wednesday night, checked the pre-orders, watched Dynamite Fang, and fucking Windows had to update at the end, so I had to stay up later than I wanted to 2 nights in a row, Once for a thing I was passionate about getting done, and twice because I had to babysit my fucking computer. And this new, like, update, I can't tell if it did anything to, like, drivers or, like, actual system stuff. It's just they slightly changed the UI, the GUI, and it all looks stupid now. I don't like it. Like, it's not a horrible change, but just some of the interfaces are weird, and I might try and find a way I could, like, just visual without, like, messing with the system. Because I know there's, like, apps and stuff for that. But I'll look into that. And then, of course, today was fucking St. Patrick's Day. And let me tell you, as a guy of Irish descent, I hate St. Patrick's Day. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm both Irish and Scottish. It's just, like, St. Patrick's Day to me, and I don't speak for every Irish American, St. Patrick's Day, it kind of symbolizes to me, like, the downfall of us as a distinct culture in this country, of us admitting defeat and fully assimilating into white people. Because St. Patrick's Day isn't really about celebrating Irish heritage. It's about white people having another excuse to get drunk. That's all it is. It's just, let's crowd up those bars, let's all hang out, watch, I don't know, the game, play a game, and just chug as much beer as we fucking can. And it was originally created as a celebration of heritage, but it was created as a way to be like, hey, look, we're not these things, we're these things. Please stop being racist against us. And I think it worked so well that it led to us just getting assimilated into being just another section of white people. Because Irish and Scottish people used to be really, what's the fucking word? Discriminated against in this country. But we kept pushing and pushing for, like, no, hey, we deserve to be here, we're good people, we're good workers, we know how to have a good time, come on, you're gonna like us, let us marry your daughters, and stuff like that, to the point where now a guy like me, I've known I was Irish on my mom's side for maybe 15, 16 years now, since I was like a little kid. And it's like barely ever been like a factor in my... I don't identify with that. I don't really have a lot of moments of like engaging with my heritage. I don't even have like a strong pull to go see Ireland or Scotland in person one day. And I don't do anything that relates to that. And I kind of blame it on shit like St. Patrick's Day normalizing Irish people way too much. I'm not saying I want to be discriminated against or oppressed or anything like that. I think those kind of things are bad for people. But, you know, as far as I was concerned, what my family heritage belief system was as a kid was Christ, Jesus, and the Lord and all that. And I had to cast all that off at a certain point, and I'm just kind of left with nothing, because my mom didn't teach me anything about Irish or Scottish culture, because she probably wasn't taught anything about Irish or Scottish culture, because Irish and Scottish people probably tried to just appear as normal as possible in my grandpa's generation and going back even further than that, which kind of sucks. And, like, seeing the holiday that's supposed to be like, hey, my people aren't that bad actually, just be another excuse for people to get drunk, it kind of makes me sick. Like, there's maybe 2 things ever that have made me feel like being of Irish descent is interesting, or this could be I might make this video when we get to a year where St. Patrick's Day falls on a Wednesday, if I stick to Wednesday as a release schedule, but I just realized this could be it. But basically I was going to say, there's only really 2 things that have ever made me like feel like my heritage was valuable or interesting, and they're both movies that came out in like the early 2000s. There's The Luck of the Irish, which was a Disney Channel original movie, but it's a very good one, especially for its time. And then there was The Magical Legend of the Leprechauns, which I think was actually a miniseries. I don't know, I haven't seen either of those since I was a kid. But I really liked those as a kid, and they made me feel like, yeah, you can do cool shit with, like, being an Irish person, I guess. But But I haven't really felt that in my adult life. I didn't even feel that when I was a teenager. It was only kind of like a very small part of my childhood. And I would like to get it back, but also I don't know where to begin, and I've got so much other shit on my plate. It's just like, why even? Just shake my head when I see all the St. Patrick's Day shit and I move on. And it's not even like Scottish people have a holiday. The most representation I've ever had as a Scottish person, frickin' the RPM Blue Ranger, who is a great character, and I love his first Focus episode. It's one of the best episodes of Power Ranger. But like, that's it. And I'm like, what am I gonna fucking... I ain't got time for that shit. I gotta move on, and I gotta enjoy my Friday, where the building's mostly empty and I can just work and listen to a book and ignore social media as much as possible, because social media has also been my stress and my irritation in the last week or so. And so I've been trying to cut back on, and by been trying, I mean today I really tried. But that did lead to me having more time to just think about random shit in my head, and it actually led to a bit of a brain blast. Whereas, like, I tend to use brain blast because I know that term is, like, culturally associated with Jimmy Neutron, and, like, that is where I first heard it. But I tend to use that to, like, refer to whenever I get a bunch of ideas for the channel once. And it's not like a slow build. It's like, here's 10 things that all stack on top of me. Back when I was doing storyline stuff, that used to be like how most of the storylines came together. It's just like once every couple months it would be like, oh shit, this, and this. And it was very much that thing with this, but it was about like videos I want to do and how like I want the end of, or like the back half of the year to shape up. And I don't want to go into specifics. I don't want to tell you guys what all that stuff is, because a lot of it is like, yes, this is a great plan, but let's not jump the gun. Let's be cautious. Let's start laying the groundwork for it now, just in case. And I'm probably going to bring that up at the modular production, or at least a part of that. And then I'm going to have to pitch one of those ideas to another YouTuber who I'm friends with. And we'll see how all that shakes out. But I'm fairly confident that I can pull that stuff off, and if I can, it'll be pretty successful and pretty cool. So getting all those ideas kind of like made Friday very good and closed the week out on a good note for me. And I mean, like, media-wise, it hasn't been a half bad week either. There's been some decent comics, some pretty good tokusatsu. I've been playing for Arkham City, like I said at the end of the last segment. I just did the Mr. Freeze boss fight tonight, and it's been really good. Like, I've always felt like I would really enjoy like open world games that are story driven. Like when I was very into YouTube Let's Plays as like a younger teenager, those were always the games I gravitated towards watching people play the most. Like, you know, stuff like this, stuff like GTA, stuff like Prototype is a series I want to play as well. You know, those kind of games, they just seem fun to me, because like you can go in and you can chisel away at the main story, or you can just fuck around, explore the map, and like beat up random dudes. And so that's fun. I've been kind of half and half splitting it. Or like with Arkham Asylum, it was pretty linear. I mean, there were some open areas where you could fuck around, but mostly it was just go in and see how far you can get in the story. With Arkham City, it's after like the first couple nights of it, because I was just kind of paying attention to the story until like a bunch of side missions had shown up. But after the first couple nights of it, I started like getting in and just kicking off with like 15-20 minutes of grappling around and looking for trophies and kicking the crap out of random gang members and stuff like as Batman. And that's pretty fun. And I also think the story's been a lot more solid in this one. I of course know the story of these games fairly well, as I've watched playthroughs of all 4 of them. But getting to experience it for myself and watching somebody else play it are 2 different experiences. And I'm quite enjoying it this time. Only like big problem has been that like they whitewashed the Al Ghuls, which is a fucking horrible choice. I don't know why anyone would do that. Why the fuck does Talia al Ghul look like a Valley Girl cheerleader? I hate that character design. And I hate a lot of the character designs. Although that being said, This is the first game where there's character designs I like outside of Batman. Like, Grundy's is stupid. Harley and Ivy's feel very exploitative to me. Talia's is just bad because of her being whitewashed and her being sexualized so much. And Raish would be decent if it wasn't whitewashed. But Hugo Strange is alright. And Two-Face is pretty good. Penguin, I could take or leave, honestly. Catwoman's great, though. The Robin's a bit try-hard, but the Mr. Freeze is great. So, like, it feels much more even this time around in the character designs department, and I'm very picky about character designs when it comes to DC characters, so you know that really matters to me. Also, just like, I felt like there was a weird little hiccup after the Mr. Freeze boss fight tonight, where it's like, you go from him being like, no, fuck you, Batman, get me my wife back, or I'll freeze you to death, to you kicking the crap out of him and being like, just give me the cure, asshole. And then the cure gets stolen, and he's like, oh, we're friends again, get my wife, get the cure, get my wife back, here's a new gadget, bye, friendo. The transition from the boss fight to the ending cutscene was just like there was no transition. It felt like two completely different chunks of story. And I was just like, don't know about that. But the boss fight itself was fun. Interesting concept. Though it got kind of frustrating when I couldn't figure out two of what should have been the more simple options to attack. Just weird, like, I couldn't do certain things in closed space like that. But whatever, I got it in the first try. Which, it's been nice. It's been a nice game. And then AEW Dynamite this week. Fucking fantastic. Best showings. Just about every segment. Felt like it mattered. Felt like it was really cool. Felt like it was pushing the company in a really interesting new direction. Loved having the Four Pillars do like a promo off in the ring. That felt like a moment we've been leading up to forever. And the main event was great. A lot of solid mid-card matches. The only thing really that I was just like, what do you do? Oh yeah, and that fucking QTV thing. And the Outsider segment, those were both really fun. The only thing I really didn't care for is Jade Cargill's match. Because at this point, like, Jade Cargill's TBS championship matches have literally just become the take a piss match. Because they're all exactly the fucking same. They're only interesting, and only kind of interesting, like 25% of the time when there's like a cool surprise person showing up to challenge her. But they always last like almost always last. Like the same length. It's always like the same sequence of moves, and she always wins the same way. And she always like cuts the same promo leading into them and the same promo after them of like, ha, nobody's been able to beat me. Aren't I amazing? Look at how muscly and sexy I am. Ha, look, that person couldn't beat me. Who's gonna challenge me next? Look at how muscly and sexy I am. And it's like, I get it, but goddamn, learn a new song. Jade's push was really cool at the start, and there's been some neat moments sprinkled throughout it. Like, I really did enjoy her cosplay gears. But I feel like at this point, she's gone on so long that the longer they make her go with the TBS championship, the more you're risking just devaluing the belt by giving it to anyone else, or really just keeping it. Like, at this point, it doesn't even feel like she's holding a championship. It feels like she's just an overpowered boss. Or, like, you're approaching LOL Cena wins levels of, I could give less of a fuck about the outcome of this match because I already know what it's going to be. And it's not even like a bad way of like, oh, I hate Jade, get her out of here. It's just boring. I'm just bored. And she seems like a really cool person backstage. And she seems like she really did try to get into it and learn it. And she's got an amazing body. But for whatever reason, Tony Khan is just giving her the same thing week in and week out. And I'm honestly fucking... I really want them to either put the belt on someone else, retire the belt, or just give her an interesting fucking storyline. But, other than that, AEW has really picked up in the last couple weeks. And I'm mostly positive about that this week. Also watched Better Call Saul Season 4. And that was really good. But it also fucked me up a little. Because I realized that, like, the whole point of the season is just making it clear that to Saul, being a lawyer and getting what he wants and winning cases, it's all a performance. It's all an act. He will do anything for the bit. And I mean, like, they had already pretty much stated that in the first 3 seasons, but here it's like the entire season is a case in and of itself, building up to that final statement of the scene where he gets his license back, and then outside is immediately like, oh my god, that was amazing, look at that fucking incredible improv thing I did, and compares himself to all these different works of art, while his girlfriend is looking at him like, what the, I believed you for a second there, what the fuck, you're not the person I thought you were, I keep seeing these glimmers of hope but they're not there, and he's just too into it and too happy to notice that he's really letting her down. And then he has the idea to become Saul Goodman the lawyer, and it ends on him saying that, and it's just like, fuck. Saul isn't a lawyer. He's a performer. He's an artist. He's a freaking content creator is what he is. He's wrestlers, YouTubers, streamers. We're all no different than Saul Goodman, and that was kind of a horrifying realization, especially because the season opened up with him like stuffing his guilt way down below his guilt and his fucking grief over his brother's death, like below sea level, and like him constantly being asked to address it throughout the season and just going nope, and the only time he actually fucking does it is when he needs it in order to like build a case for him to get his license. And it was like, fuck. Like, I don't intentionally do that. I'm not that kind of a person, but like I could see a little bit of myself in that and in the whole performative thing, because of how I've been like really trying to push for me to finally make it this year. And like a big reason for that is that my dad died and I don't have to worry about taking care of him at all anymore. Like, I have to work with my mom and make sure she's good, but that's more kind of a back and forth relationship. It's less like a total support either way. And same thing with my sister and my nephew. But like, there's a part of me that wonders, like, am I just ignoring how I feel about my dad? I'm pushing myself so hard to be successful because it's like, well, dad's out of the way, and that had to have been for something. And I think part of it definitely is that, but it's also just, I've wanted to do this forever and I finally can. Like, that's a really strong sign of a good piece of media, that it forces you to take such a hard look at yourself and ultimately go like, no, I'm not like this bad person that's in this piece of media, but I do have things in common with them. And isn't that interesting how we as humans have so many like eerie commonalities between us that they can make us question ourselves. Also, all the fucking shit like this season was so fucking harrowing. Like, it's... I do wish the two plot lines were connected a little more, but I'm still really enjoying them both of each other. So Better Call Saul is great for me so far. Got 2 seasons left. And then I finished reading Dune today. I'd read it before like 4 or 5 years ago, before the new movie, and I just never got to the rest of the series. And so I was like, you know what, very recently, I was like, okay, for my next book, I'm going to reread Dune, and then I'm going to get on to Dune Messiah, and we're going to keep going with the series until I finish it, and then I'm going to finally watch, not just the new movie, but all the movies. I'm going to watch the David Lynch Dune, I'm going to watch the documentary about Jodorowsky's Dune that never got off the ground, and then I'm going to watch the new Dune, and I think by that point, when I've read all the books and watched all those, I think part 2 of the new Dune, so I'll watch that. And yeah, I'm getting into Dune. That's a thing that's happening. Dune is really fucking good. It's like, the characters are interesting, yeah, and the prose is certainly really strong. But the thing that impresses me the most about that show is just that, about that book is just like how good it world builds. Because like, it never holds your hand, but it also never gets like confusing or makes you feel lost. Because it's all from the perspective of, this is what this character knows about this thing. Or here's them learning a bunch of new stuff about a thing. And so you're always coming from a place where you're totally in the same frame of mind as whatever character is narrating to you. And you feel like this is a real world, and your understanding of it is just expanding as you go on. And I think that's something not a lot of writers are very good at. But clearly, was it Frank Herbert who wrote the books? Clearly he was. Like he really comes off like a master at just going, alright, we've set up this scene. Now we're going to spend a bunch of pages establishing what this character knows about this thing, and then we'll knock all that down with the end of the scene where they learn a new thing, or their knowledge is confirmed, or so on and so such. And it's just chapter after chapter of that as you go through this kind of like almost classical hero's journey story that I really enjoy. And I'm looking forward to checking out the movie version of it, but I'm also looking forward to reading the next book, which I'm going to start next Friday. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how everything else goes, because I've also, I gotta go over to the campus at some point tomorrow afternoon and reshoot the Legacy Armada toy that is going to be coming out this week. It was actually supposed to come out next week originally, I think. And the Boom Power Rangers video was going to come out this week, but I've decided to just hold that video until April entirely. We're gonna reshoot the Transformers Legacy Armada video, and that's going to come out this week. And then I'm going to put out the Beast Morphers video, because I think that video is fine as is. The first round of it, I just need to edit it. And then in April we'll do the Boom comics as well as some other stuff, because there's a new issue coming out this week. And even if I got it out on a normal Wednesday, this issue, like everything I say in it runs the risk of being proven wrong or corrected by stuffing in the next issue. So I'd rather just wait until the next issue is out to re-record the video and release it. So at this point, it's probably going to be the first video. I'm not doing an April Fool's prank this year though, because A, it's not on a Wednesday. And B, I've never been the biggest fan of it. Because I feel like you should only do an April Fool's prank if you have a really, really good idea that's not going to make anyone mad and will just be entertaining. And 9 times out of 10, people don't. I know people who are really into April Fool's Day and tell me oh, you should check out this thing or this thing, it's a really good April Fool's Day thing. And it's always just like, no, this is fucking stupid. This sucks. Get something funny. So the one time I've ever done an April Fool's Day video was where I bought like the cheapest possible Bumblebee at the time, in like the current mainstream one. I was like, it's gonna be my big return to toy reviewing, and then it's just like a quiet video of me fucking around with the toy and then smashing it with that was the one like, that's a kind of good video. We'll see how that it got no response. Nobody fucking watched it because I wasn't doing toy videos, and so I don't really plan to ever Fool's Day. Like, if April Fool's Day ever falls on a Wednesday, I might just, say videos coming out on Thursday or something. I don't know. But it is late. It's past midnight now, and you've heard me yawn quite a few times. And I've been at this 48 minutes, so I think I'm gonna go to bed. I'll see you guys in a week. So it's the 26th now, and clearly I am quite late this, because recording it at 1 a.m. Sunday morning would normally be something I would do Friday night, and this is technically Saturday night. This is the last thing I'm doing before I go to bed on Saturday. Well, no, that's not true. I was halfway through an episode of Ninja Turtles, so I'll probably finish that before I go to bed, but wanted to go ahead and get this done now that I'm done editing and uploading components, because this week has been a bit of a shit show, which is very unfortunate. I thought, because it was spring break, I thought that I would actually be able to, get some extra stuff done. I was going to try and, read all of this week's or this month's modular or analytical fanboys topic, and I was gonna try and get through as much of Mega Ranger as possible at work, because there's no one in my building and I don't really have to do anything except for a little bit each day, just check the bathrooms for the off chance that somebody came in to do some paperwork or something like that and had to use the bathroom. And I did accomplish that mission. I did get that done. But other than that, stuff ended up getting delayed because I just wasn't very good at managing my time outside of work. And there's been some family stuff that has come up and gotten in the way. And also the weather's not really been on my side. It went from being 62 degrees outside all week to just randomly halfway through Friday, it shot up to like the 80s. And I have been not cooking in my room, but uncomfortably. And I've been going back and forth on whether or not I should go ahead and put the AC unit in, because it is basically springtime going into summer now, but like the forecast also says it might cool down again later this week, and do I want to go through all that effort just for nothing? But also I should probably get it done this month because spare time is gonna not be as much of a thing starting in May. And because of that, I'm also trying to get a lot of ducks in a row on the back end. You know, I need to go through, tidy up, and clean out the garage. I need to get on the ball with yard work, pick out a time of the week when that's going to be a regular thing through the spring and the summer. I need to get the AC unit in. And as far as content is concerned, I've got some stuff that I am tentatively planning on for the back end of the year that I need to start laying the groundwork for now, and I've kind of started doing that in the last week or so. I don't want to tell you guys what that is just yet. I'm keeping that really close to the chest because some of it is stuff that is I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this off, but if I am, then I need to start working on it now. So I'm kind of trying to get into that mode of making sure things get done on time during the week, but also planning ahead. And that's very hard to do, especially when this is another week where a bunch of bullshit came out of nowhere and the video ended up coming out later than expected. I had to delay it a day because I didn't get much editing done on it Sunday or Monday, and then I was like, well, I'll just fucking power through and I'll get it all done on Tuesday night. And then it was 2 a.m. on Tuesday and I was falling asleep at the keyboard, and I was like, it's almost done, but I can't push myself. I have to sleep, I have to go to work tomorrow, and then I can finish it, and it'll just come out on Thursday this week, which is fine. Like I said, Wednesday has never been the hard day of this is the day when the videos come out. It's just the day when I want them to come out, because that's the best case scenario, in my opinion, is start on it on Sunday, get the bulk of the work done Monday, release it on Patreon Tuesday, and release it publicly Wednesday. I really like that idea, but can't always keep to it. So that happened here, and that's going to happen sometimes in general, and that's why I didn't say specifically videos every Wednesday. I said videos every week. And it doesn't even seem to have been that much of a problem, because this has actually been my most successful video all year, at least in my opinion. You know, YouTube didn't give me the fireworks for it, but it has gotten over 1,000 views in its first 3 days. It's gotten a good amount of likes, 74 likes, no dislikes. Been a very active comment section after the first day. It took a day, but then the comment section has been pretty consistently active, 1 or 2 new comments every few hours. And I've gotten a ton of subscribers off of it. You know, I was kind of not dwindling, not bleeding, but I was losing subscribers for a little bit there, because I think we were just in a changeover period of people long-time subscribers who expected a certain type of thing from me, going oh, he's really sticking to this, he's really doing this outdoor vlog thing. Ugh, I don't really want to watch that, I'm gonna go somewhere else. And new people coming on and going oh, this is really cool, I like this guy's jib, let's subscribe, let's see what's going on. And it was people were unsubscribing faster than they were subscribing. But I've actually gotten a crap ton of subscribers off of this video. I think 13 total. We're sitting at 1,299 subscribers as of me recording this. So about to tip over to 1,300, which would be really nice. First time I've tipped over a 100 increment since the start of the year in this new era. And also just the first time I've been able to tell a significant amount of subscribers coming in off of a video. And it's a freaking Transformers toy review of figures based off of stuff I'm nostalgic for, not stuff the brand typically caters to, which is just astounding to me, because for years since Megapore Sucks, I have thought of myself as being stuck in an algorithmic rut of being known as a tokusatsu guy and being known as an angry tokusatsu guy. And I don't mind being known as an angry guy, because I feel like I can harness my anger to make good points and drive people in good directions, but like, I care about more stuff besides tokusatsu. If anything, I'm a guy who's interested in toys first and foremost, and then like I expand out to being interested in the media related to them. But media criticism is like the big thing on YouTube these days, and you gotta go where the big things are and where the algorithm is telling you to. So I've been trying to do, like, for every one other topic, do a tokusatsu topic ever since I got into the weekly swing. And this is the first time that not only has a video been really successful, but it's been a video that's not tokusatsu related, because we had the Kamen Rider distribution rant that did really good at the start of the year, and then last week we had the Aftergo Kaiju video, which did really good, and then this video is doing better than either of those videos. So I think I'm officially out of that rut. I think I'm officially at a point where YouTube is pushing me towards just whoever is interested in the thing I want to talk about, and is acknowledging that, like, I'm a channel that does multiple different kinds of things, which is really nice, honestly. It gives me a lot of confidence going forward into the rest of the year, because like I said, I wouldn't say like huge plans, but I got semi-big plans going on as we move forward into the year. And there's a lot of things I want to do, a lot of ground I want to cover, and hopefully, now that we're out of the early, like, changeover period of the algorithm getting used to me being this kind of person, we can really just go for it. So I'm pretty excited about that. And, you know, other stuff is working out fairly solidly. TikTok and Shorts doing decent numbers, staying fairly consistent. Every once in a while, but mostly it's like you get a couple hundred views a piece, and I'm happy for that. And the watermarked TikToks have started going up, so people will be able to hopefully get a little redirection. I'm not counting on, like, suddenly a flood of subscribers from TikTok, but we'll see what happens. And streams are still doing okay. You guys are still turning out for those, and I'm still appreciating that quite a bit. I'll admit the last one ended a little haphazardly, a little awkwardly, because I straight up did not expect Blue Centurion to break on camera. But c'est la vie. We'll see how that story unfolds, because I haven't gotten my replacement figure yet. I did contact Hasbro, but I haven't gotten it yet. I might have it by the end of by the end of the podcast. So we'll see. We'll see if I give you an update on that. If you're not aware, though, go watch the second toy stream, the unboxing from the warehouse, where I unbox a bunch of stuff from the Hasbro Pulse warehouse sale, and the one non-sale item that I chose to get just because I really wanted it broke on camera. Because it's been a thing with that line. I don't know why I put A. Just like, hey, it's been a thing with that line that sometimes the hip joints aren't the best, and you should really lube them up beforehand. And I didn't, because I was just excited that I had gotten all the accessories, and the articulation on the upper half of the body was perfectly fine, and I didn't have any pain issue. But silly me. If I get an exact replacement, I'm definitely going to put those hip joints, though, so we'll see what happens in that regard. And if not, I might try and see if I can get, like, a discounted one at my Target, because I know people have been finding that Deluxe Wave randomly discounted right away for some reason. But that's neither here nor there. What else do I need to say? Oh yeah, I did have a couple new video ideas this week, so I'm cooking up a couple things, mainly, like, very pointed rant-type things. So not exactly as strong as the brain blast I had last week, but it's something. And, you know, the video list is ever expanding. I think I'm, like, close to 80 different video ideas just on that list now that I want to get to eventually. So we're well secure to continue going weekly into 2024 if this continues growing in success. And that's very nice. As for media this week, you know, AEW Dynamite was pretty good. I enjoyed the fact that it was bookended with elite drama. I always enjoy when that's the focus of Dynamite, so that was very fun. Kenny versus the Viking luchador, whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce. That was fun. That was a fantastic match. That one freaking spin hit on Kenny onto the table. Oh my god, that was so perfectly executed. And finished Arkham City. Finished Batman Arkham City. There's a bunch of post-game stuff I can be doing, so I'll probably still be doing that for another week. I'll probably wait to start either Arkham Knight or Arkham Origins until April. But yeah, Arkham City. Really, really good game. Still have my hang-ups about the aesthetics of the series, but the actual gameplay and the layout of the world and the writing, I feel, are perfect for a Batman, and I'm really excited to see how that is finalized in Arkham Knight. I mean, obviously I've watched playthroughs of all the games before, so I kind of have an idea of what's going on, but that was years ago, so it's still kind of I'm experiencing these for the first time, and I'm experiencing them for myself for the first time, so that's exciting. And just today, because my sister is sick and she didn't want to be alone, she needed somebody to watch the kid, her and my nephew have been bombing around the house, so it's just been very hard to get up the gumption to get started on something, because I know there's a chance I could be interrupted at any moment until they put my nephew to bed an hour before we did components. So that's part of why I'm recording this so late, because they got here last night, which would be Friday night. Oh god, space is warped and time is bendable. But the point is, today I binge watched Agretzko Season 5, and that was pretty good. I feel like they wrapped it up fairly well. I feel like they did some fun, taking it to its furthest logical extreme with the characters that you can when you only got one more season. And I kind of like where they leave everybody off. You know, maybe it would have been fun to have this big bombastic ending of Agretzko Retzko gets into the House of Representatives, or this thing or that thing or the other thing happens. I saw some people, because I went to look at reviews, I saw some people complaining that their wedding isn't on screen. They don't have a big extravagant happy ending wedding, and I'm that would have been entirely antiphasized to the themes of this show. The fact that they did get married on screen. It's just, it wasn't a big extravagant wedding. It was literally, they went to the Japanese equivalent of the county clerk's office and filled out a piece of paperwork that says you're married now. Because that's what made sense for that couple and for the story that this show has been telling and for the way it's been examining modern life in Japan. I really dug that aspect specifically. That was one scene, I think that's in the final episode, it might have been in the penultimate, but that was one scene where it was whoa, hey, that's great, I like that they did that. There's a few points that I'm I could take or leave, but mostly I thought it did pretty well. The one thing I would say is a big problem is that we kind of do a little time skip from Season 4 to Season 5, and I think they did that specifically because they didn't want to deal with Agretzko and I keep saying Agretzko. This is the name of the show. Her name is Retzko. They don't want to deal with Retzko and Haida having to deal with their relationship problems that would come out of the way things were left off in Season 4, and that's understandable, but it makes it feel kind of weird that they're just back to being a couple, and then all of a sudden there's problems again because you gotta have a plot in the show. I would have liked to have seen just maybe an episode or two of them working out their problems and just being a couple before all of a sudden Haida gets evicted. But that's just me. Otherwise, I liked it. I think Agretzko is a great show that most people should check out. I know a lot of people... I saw... Again, while looking at reviews today, I saw some people saying oh, it's a show that's gotten worse with each season. I disagree. There's definitely parts about the later seasons that I don't like as much. There were definitely times in 3 and 4 where I was I kind of wish we had the vibes of 1 and 2 back. But I do feel like overall it's a really solid show. And it ended in a fairly well done way that feels entirely appropriate for the story they've been telling. And, I'm happy they got to give it an ending. I'm happy Netflix didn't just pull the plug. I'm sure they did, but they pulled the plug in the you get one more season and you're done kind of way. And I always prefer that to the you're just done now. Like, even if it's a show that's only had one season, I would always say, give them one more to wrap it up. Or give them a movie to wrap it up, or something like that. No, don't just say, and this is over now, you'll never get any more. Because, all stories deserve a chance to have a proper conclusion. And the proper conclusion of this month will be coming in just a minute. I'll see you then. And it is finally the 31st, last day of the month. I'm going to record this and then immediately edit the whole podcast together and get it up for you guys, hopefully before midnight. We'll see how long it takes me, because I got some rambling to do. And editing does take a minute, but it's been a bit of a week, been a bit of a hectic, kind of crazy, just barreling through, trying to get through the other side okay, so I can get to the real work, the real man's work of fucking making YouTube videos. Been quite a bit of IRL BS going on though, like my mom's car had some issues right at the beginning of the week on Monday. Excuse me, it's a bit late. I'm gonna yawn a couple times during this probably, but on Monday, she was going to meet up with my sister and pick up my nephew from daycare, and they ended up getting stranded at daycare because her engine was overheating and they couldn't figure out why, so they had me come and bring them some coolant. And as soon as we put it in, we immediately figured out, the fucking reservoir's leaked. So we had to get everything out of her car into mine, take them home, and then come back home and call a tow truck. And our preferred mechanic in town, we go to like my mom usually, unless it's something that really specifically needs like the dealership or whatever to take care of it, she goes to this not family owned, but like independent brick and mortar mechanic, and they treat her very well. And they were like, we're kind of busy this week, but we'll try and get it in as fast as possible. And we were really hoping they could get it in, get it looked at, and get it done before the end of the next day, because my mom had to go to the airport on Wednesday, and they were able to get it in and get it looked at, and they found out it's not the reservoir, it's like one of the pipes, I guess would be the right word, like one of the tubes that runs from the reservoir to the engine and the other systems. That's what was leaking. And for the car my mom drives, it's actually kind of expensive to replace that. It's going to cost her $200 to have them do it, and it would actually be more expensive to have the dealership do it. So my mom was like, well, we can get that done, but not till after I get paid, which was going to be on Thursday. So I'll just leave it there while I go on my trip, and you'll just have to drive me to the airport. So the next day I ended up getting up and doing that and going straight from the airport to the gym and working out, and then going straight from the gym to work. And it was a very odd morning, and it kind of set the tone for the next couple days, I feel like, because this week has been, I wouldn't say off, just like different in a weird kind of eerie way. Like, this isn't how life usually is, but I could get used to it being this way after enough time, because it's my mom's gone. It's just me going through the motions day to day and getting my shit done, getting what work I can get done in the evenings. it's been a bit odd, I won't lie, especially with like the knowledge of why my mom is gone, which is that she went to Florida to be with my aunt and uncle and basically check in on and potentially say goodbye to my grandpa, because he has been in and out of the hospital for like 3 or 4 months now, and my aunt, who has been his primary caretaker for probably going on 10 years now, is not feeling too optimistic about his situation. And when we were down in Florida last year, he didn't even look that good. I thought he was kind of hard to look at, and from what my mom's told me, it's much worse now. I don't know what it is, but like, death doesn't really bother me the way it does other people. Like, I see it as a very natural, factual part of life, so I rarely get upset or like super bummed out about someone in my life dying. Now, given I've never had like a sudden death in my life, most of my deaths are like, yeah, that's expected, or yeah, this has been a long time coming. Like my dad, it was several years of watching his condition deteriorate to the point where like I thought I would have a little more time with him, but it didn't like come out of nowhere when he died. And I've lost both my grandparents on his side of the family, actually, and both times it was like, okay, they're old people, that's what old people do, they die, let's go pay our respects. And I can get a rare visit with my dad's side of the family, because my dad's side of the family lives in Kansas, and we've lived in like the South our whole lives, so we don't really get up to the Midwest my whole life. I should say, not my entire family's whole existence. My mom and dad moved around quite a lot right around until I was in my teen years. But get a rare visit in with my dad's side of the family, see some sights in Kansas, and pay my respects at the funeral. It was very much like a going through the motions, a thing to get over. And I didn't even know those grandparents that well. I had only met them like a couple of times. And it's very much the same thing with my dad, where it was like, yeah, this sucks, this is hard, but like, I've kind of given everything emotionally I already can to this. There was one moment during the funeral where I got pretty distraught, but it was only for like a couple minutes, and it was at like a point where you're really supposed to, if you're close to the deceased, to get that emotional. And even then, like the first time someone in my life died, my grandma on my mom's side, is back when I was like still kind of a kid. I think I was like a tween, 11, 12, that kind of age. And again, it was another instance of, well, she was probably due for it anyway, because she had several heart issues and had been in and out of hospital for like a year and a half at that point. And the whole time at the funeral, like everyone else was really sad and upset, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, whatever. I'm more interested in this Transformer I just bought. That was me at my first funeral, honestly. I didn't voice that. I knew that was rude. I knew that was inappropriate, but that was just how I felt. And with my dad, it was very much just like, this is okay. This saga is almost over now. We just got to get through this one last thing, and then it's going to be a brief healing period, and then life will go on. And that's honestly kind of how I feel about my grandpa. You know, the man's in his mid-90s. He served in World War II. He fought in the Korean War. He was on the team of engineers that invented the radar gun. Like, dude's been around. Dude's done some stuff. He raised a family. He did all that. He's seen his hobbies out as far as you can. And he's told every story he has to tell to me and all his other grandkids. Like, I don't mean to be turt or disdain or like just insensitive or whatever, and it's not like I don't feel anything. Like, it's sad that he's probably not going to be with us much longer, but I'm not too bent out of shape about it. It feels right, it feels natural, and from what my mom's told me, he has told her that he has been ready to go for a while. So, I hope he finally gets his peace and is able to enjoy his last couple of days with his daughters. To be honest, I'm not even sure if I'd want to go to the funeral, because it would seem like a huge effort to get down there again at this time of year, and I've got so much other stuff going on that it doesn't really seem like a big deal. Like, I'm not super emotionally invested in it. I've got so much other stuff going on, and it just, I don't know. I sound like I'm trying to justify being a workaholic, or being an emotionless cyborg asshole or something like that. But it's just like, to me, I tend to treat death a lot like Jimmy does in Better Call Saul season 4, where like there's that scene. Well, that whole season is just about like people being like, why aren't you upset about your brother dying? Why are you just taking it in stride and trying to get your life back on track like always? And he's just like, because he was here one minute and he was gone the next. My life goes on. I've got to deal with that. And that's kind of how I feel about most of the deaths that have happened in my life. Like, it's weird. The only death I've really been super emotionally affected by is when Brody Lee died, and I think that's because that blindsided everybody except for like his immediate family, and we all thought like he was gonna come back and he was gonna do more cool stuff, and we had no idea he was injured. And then when that news came out, at a point where I was like trying to really do a big creative push. I was working on What If Megaforce Was Good, and like I was listening to music trying to find the right song for the intro, and like I had been thinking it would be this song beforehand anyways, but literally I was listening to Let's See How Far We've Come by Matchbox 20, which is already a fairly emotional song that's about like a guy experiencing the end of the world and just like questioning his whole life and the human race in general, of like, was any of this worth it at all? And I just happened to say like, all right, let's check Twitter while I'm listening to this, and there was the news right there, that announcement tweet from the AEW social media account, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, oh shit, that sucks. And it's gotten more and more painful as it's gone on, as it went on, as we learned more and more about Brody Lee the person, not Brody Lee the wrestler, and like what a good guy the community lost, to the point where like I still like it being in that video, but I can't listen to Let's See How Far We've Come anymore without getting at least a little emotional, which is weird, because like I wasn't even a huge Brody Lee fan beforehand, and I never met the guy certainly. But I thought he was a solid performer. I liked what he had been doing in AEW. And then when that news broke, just like AEW just saying, hey, Brody's gone, this is sort of a basic explanation of what happened. There's going to be a tribute show on Wednesday. Please be respectful of the family. While I was listening to this super emotional song, it just happened to hit me in a way that a death really never has before or since. And that is certainly going to change eventually. Like, I know when I lose my mom, which is inevitable, that's going to be a rough time. And certainly if I ever lose one of my friends, that's going to be devastating. I really do think I'm going to be friends with the Modular guys for a long time to come. And if, God forbid, the day ever comes that I'm at like Boingo's funeral, I'll be a fucking mess. You will have to scrape me up off the floor, I'm sure. But at this point, it's like there is too much to be done to get upset about somebody who has lived a full and happy life, getting ready to say goodbye. And I know that's really off topic for this podcast. I know that's very personal, and it's very off the beaten path, but it's just something that's been weighing on me this entire time since my mom left, because like part of me does feel guilty about it, part of me does feel a little weird about it, but you can't help feeling what you do or don't feel. It's just the way you are. And you got to kind of work through it accordingly. And I guess this podcast is my way of doing that sometimes. But I'm trying not to let it weigh on me too much, and just like go with my normal instinct to accept it as fact. And mostly my mind has been focused on like just how much shit I would like to get done in the next 3 days, because my sister and my nephew aren't scheduled to come over at all this weekend, and my mom's gone, so I basically have the house to myself for 3 days, and I would really like to just rock and roll and get a shit ton of fuck done. I got a lot of video work I would like to get done. I would like to clean up around the house, because I haven't been able to do that in a few weeks. I would like to clean out and sort of, not like fully reorganize, but just straighten up our garage, because over this winter, fall, spring period, it has really just turned into a mess, because I haven't gone in there that much. And I need to get it straightened up, because spring is coming. Spring is here. I'm gonna need to do lawn work, and most of my lawn work equipment is in the garage. So I need to be able to get quick access to it without a bunch of bullshit. And also, like, as it heats up, I'm gonna need the window AC units. I'm gonna need those active and good. So I'll probably just get those out and install them at some point over the next 3 days, because I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last part or not, but good crap, it got hot last weekend. And it's cooled way down since, but I know it's going to get hot again. This is just like a brief respite from the preview of summer that we got, and I cannot stand the heat. I like it cold. I don't like it chilly. I like it cold. But if it gets crazy hot, I would rather kill myself than not have AC, honestly. So, gotta get those window units installed and gotta figure out how to manage them. And the only thing that sucks about them is I can't have them on recording, because otherwise it just completely dilutes the audio. Except for stuff we record for modular media over Discord. For some reason, my microphone for Discord never picks up the noise of those fans. But this, I will have to sit and sweat for however long I need to record it. But yeah, that's all stuff that's on my plate right now that's got to get done. I got to do all the normal weekly, weekend modular work. I want to shoot this coming week's video and the video for the week after that. So I'll probably be heading to the campus on Sunday, because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. But Sunday is looking clear, so probably go like Sunday early afternoon and shoot for a couple hours. And just generally gonna clean up and tidy up around here. And you probably already saw I'm gonna be doing a stream tomorrow, just doing some unboxing, because I got my replacement item from Hasbro for my broken Blue Centurion. It's not the Blue Centurion. If you follow me on Twitter, you know it's the in-space Blue Ranger with Galaxy Glider. Which is fine, but I am going to try and find a replacement Blue Centurion, because I know they've been showing up at Target and getting clearance immediately recently, so I might be able to get lucky and get in on that deal, as well as hopefully a couple other things, and just generally do a chill stream. And we've got our annual modular media production meeting before recording this month's AF tomorrow night, so I've got that to think about, and just generally a lot of stuff to get done. Like, as soon as I get this up, I'm gonna be working out my budget for the month and getting some bills paid and whatnot, because I did get paid today. So get the budget worked out tonight, go fig hunting tomorrow, clean up around the house a little bit, do a stream, do the modular stuff. That's how Saturday's probably gonna, and Sunday will probably be similar, but just replace the fig hunt with shooting videos, and cleaning around the house with cleaning out the garage, and probably mostly the same on Monday, except Monday I do have a couple meetings to go to, and that's when my mom will be getting back from Florida, so I'll probably have to go to the airport and pick her up at some point. I should text her about that in the morning, check what time her plane is supposed to land, because now that I think about it, we might have to postpone Twit. Buster, ask me about that tomorrow night if I forget to message you. Hopefully we got out. But that's all the kind of life stuff that's been going on this week. Of course, I did get a video out this week, so I should probably talk a little bit about that. The Beast Morphers video. Obviously, it's pretty different from my original Season 1, Season 2 reviews that I did back in the day, but I kind of like that. I didn't want to just straight up make a carbon copy of those videos, even though I am a little ticked at myself for deleting them now. And also, like, I just more so wanted to comment on the current, the sort of legacy conversation surrounding the show now that it's kind of set in stone, which is, was it right to start inserting more and more uses of continuity into PR? And this is something that, like, Buster and I have gone back and forth on a couple times, I think both on Twit and off recording. Not like arguing, just like, I feel this way, I feel this way, and then I saw the conversation like sort of becoming a thing again on social media in the face of Linkara releasing his history of Power Rangers on Dino Fury, and I was like, I should comment on this, I should make this video, I should talk about like why I think it's okay that Power Rangers is doing this, and like what my dislikes with Beast Morphers are. And I feel like I did a pretty good job with that. It came out all right, but I feel like a lot of it was the editing and how much I cleaned it up. Because if you pay attention to my performance, you can tell like it's not as well rehearsed or as tight or as well thought out as some of my other videos have been recently, and that's largely because I was in a location that was very near where some construction is happening on the campus, and I kept hearing noises, not like construction was actively happening, but like somebody was fucking around in the construction site, moving some stuff around on their own. And it kept distracting me, and I wasn't able to really keep my thoughts as straight as they could have been. And that does bug me about that video. Like, I feel like I could do it better if I went back and I either went to that same spot and there wasn't those noises happening, or I just did it at a different spot. But that's part of the point of recording outside, is those little imperfections and inconsistencies. You have to be willing to take them and strive. And releasing the video, I feel like I have, but in the moment, I definitely wasn't. There's some points where I'm like, I could have worded that better, that should probably be more over here, and I could, like, insert another thought right here, but wasn't gonna go reshoot the video just because of that. Like, it's still a solid thing, with a good argument for all my points, I feel like. And I'm perfectly satisfied with it. Might do more Beast Morphers videos in the future if I can think of like some other topics with that show to discuss. But right now I'm happy with that being like the main Beast Morphers video on the channel. And hopefully everyone else is too. Seemed to get a pretty decent reception. It's up to 800 views now in just a couple days. I know numbers in general have just been up on this channel, which I am very grateful. It feels like finally the algorithm is starting to acknowledge what I'm doing and really rewarding the work I've been putting in, which is so nice. I probably said that last segment or two as well. It bears repeating. And speaking of repeating, I am going to be shooting next week's video on Sunday, which will be my third attempt at the Boom Power Rangers video, because I shot a version of it without the new mic, and then I got the new mic and I shot a second version of it, and then we had the scheduling issues that caused it to get pushed to April. And I was looking at the raw footage and I was like, I'm not happy with how this came out. We're going to do it one more time, especially with the new issue that came out last week and the news about a new take on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as a comic book from Amy Jo Johnson that came out today, which I'm just so excited. So that's going to be coming out this week, and I'll also shoot on Sunday the video for the week after that, because that weekend is going to rain all weekend, so I won't be able to shoot anything at all. I'll have to shoot that ahead of time, which is going to be a look at all the like most recent best offerings for Soundwave in Transformers Generations and his cassettes. Just kind of going like, hey, if you want to build out a good Soundwave squad, here's what I've done and here's how I feel about these toys. That kind of a video, and hopefully those go over fairly well, but, you know, time will tell. And in the meantime, I've just been kind of rocking and rolling with a little bit more media this week, outside of my normal modular podcast parameters. I have made the conscious decision not to watch full wrestling shows for a little bit right now, because it's such an unwieldy investment for me to put on like even a 2-hour wrestling show and say like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this while I edit or something. And and it's like a crapshoot. Sometimes it'll be really good, sometimes parts of it'll be really good, sometimes it'll be like a slog, and I can't do that anymore. I'm going to take a break from that, and I'm just going to be watching the clips that interest me, that they put on their YouTube channels for a bit. So I'm not like completely dropping wrestling. I'm just going to be moving to a more casual viewing angle of it for a little bit. Which I know is a funny thing to do on friggin' WrestleMania weekend, but there you go. And it's just going to be much more conducive to my current flow and schedule to watch wrestling like that. And we'll see how that goes for a little bit. I might be back to watching Dynamites by next month, or by May, I should say. And I am a little interested in like everything that's on that Supercard of Honor show this weekend, but it's gonna really depend on how things shake. Like if I think I'm gonna have like a good few hours straight working in the garage or stuff, and I might put that on as background noise, but I definitely can't sit down and watch it at a point, which is it's disappointing. But, you know, life goes how it goes. Sometimes you can listen to podcasts all day while you're at work. Sometimes you're doing work that requires your full attention. You got to be willing to roll with those punches. And speaking of punches and kicks and melee weapons, I finished watching the first season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003 Season 1 this week, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed how tightly it is. And now that I'm saying that out loud, I wrote it while I was prepping to do this segment, but now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing I already talked about that last week. I'm sorry. Shit kind of blurs together sometimes. I should really start re-listening to the previous week's segment before I record this week's, but that would mean recording this would take an entire evening sometimes. Jesus. But the thing I moved on to after Turtles 03 is I've been watching the Peter Jackson Disney Plus The Beatles Get Back documentary, and that's been super fascinating because I've always been a casual but avid Beatles fan who just kind of gets into it in spurts. Like I was really into the Beatles in my early teens, and then I dropped it for a little bit, and then like around the time I was 19 I got into them again for a little bit, and I haven't really looked at them since being in my 20s too hard, but I'm about halfway through it. I'm actually literally halfway through the second episode right now because it's 3 hour a piece episodes. It's a 9-hour documentary in total because it's basically just the raw footage of them working on making an album for an entire month in as much of a sequential order as the footage they have allows, and it's really fascinating to watch. It really gives me like a very interesting kind of almost YouTuber-y vibe, which is very odd for like these iconic creators from before my time, from before a period where you could even conceive of a thing like YouTube. But seeing them just kind of screwing around and working on like germs of an idea and developing it into a full song, and also having their little tiffs here and there, it feels so close to what I've experienced as a creative, working with other people and like trying to get shit done. Like it's making me both long for and dread doing another modular summit. It's just that interesting kind of chaotic creative energy that, like, you always hear stories about them having it. Like the Beatles have always been known as like one of the most realistically dysfunctional bands, like legendarily so. But the fact that so much of their music is so legendary and held in so much esteem, you don't really expect to ever like see that play out. And now that I am, it's very much like a culture shock of like, wow, these were real guys doing real work and just trying to get along and be creative and get through life, and it's very fascinating to watch. Really glad that I kept it in my Disney Plus watch list this whole time, because it's really interesting to watch, and I would honestly recommend it to anyone who is remotely creative or has aspirations of being a creative person, because it's a good, like, realistic, down to earth but still honest and fun look at what it's like to be working on a big creative project in a group setting. Cannot wait to get back to it as soon as I stop recording this and go to edit it, which I guess brings us to the end of this, because that is the last thing on my list of topics for this week anyway. And that ends the podcast for this month. The Patreon production diary for May 2023 is wrapped. So, thank you guys once again for sticking with me for another month. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I really feel like things are finally starting to rock and roll, and very soon, with the subscribers and the viewing numbers and the comments and likes, all the metrics, all the YouTube metrics have really picked up this month. I feel like we might actually start seeing some new people pop in here and start pledging and listening to this. So hopefully that becomes a reality. I'm going to keep working towards making it a reality, because it is real. As much as I'm sure they wouldn't wish it on anybody just by watching Get Back, I do eventually want to get to a place in life where I'm constantly doing the kind of stuff that the Beatles are going for. So, yeah, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for listening, and I will see you at the end of April. Take care.